Hello, I am Brandon, the humble host of Actual Play Broadcast. This will serve as an introduction to our broadcast for the time being. As we record and publish more, it shall change. We are still getting things set up, so apologies for any errors, skips, or silence that may occur. Everything will be smoothed out in due time. Please enjoy our broadcasts of various RPGs, and remember to tune in for more every other week, as continuations or new adventures will be posted at such times. Thank you, and enjoy the show.
Hello, everyone. This is the third episode of the yet-to-be-named murder mystery, because still haven't figured that part out yet. But our players are well on the way to figuring out who the murderer of the king is. And my players are once again...
Hot sack.
I'm Cindrah, playing Zazzy. Or Inspector Zazzy.
I am Damiani, playing Jorson.
And tonight should be the last episode as they follow the clues to the murderer, or to someone who isn't the murderer and they wrongfully accuse them, like every justice system.
At least it would be realistic.
It would be.
Yeah, it might be the last episode, it might not. I guess it depends on how well we do this.
I think you guys are doing great.
That's good.
Let's get this ball rolling. So last we left off, you had gone out back to investigate where the maid Vanessa went after she was reported missing earlier in the day, and then when asked about her whereabouts, you were informed that she likes to enjoy the scene out the back door. You went and investigated and found her decapitated body.
You know, like you do.
You investigated the king's corpse, found some clues, investigated his room, found several letters, one of which disowning one of his children, the other basically selling her off to pay a debt, and then a brass unholy symbol, you could say, followed some stairs down to find another brass object, but this time it was a massive statue that was then Jaeger piloted by a Eidolon, where it was then punched and shot several times and rendered immobile. Then you punch the ghost. Ghost punching. It is the world's greatest pastime.
Of course.
Afraid no ghosts.
After some questioning and leveling of accusations to a few individuals, we were pushed in the direction to find Vanessa, and here we are, with a headless body and more questions than answers.
Yeah.
So, what would you
Where were we in the
expect?
conversation?
You had just finished describing, well, not describing, but going over your potential suspect list. As I remember, the suspect list was Tabitha, as she would have the skills and the motive with the letter to sneak up on people and kill them quickly and quietly. Cassandra, as she also had motive, as her father scorned her relationships and a connection to Vanessa, that perhaps Vanessa had been willing to do anything for her. Alexander, my understanding that your motive for him was, as Lexington, one of his advisors, had stated, that if word were to get out that his father, the king, was a chaos worshipper, he would lose his station and be stripped of both his rank and his position. And then Alexis, once again, was being sold off to pay a debt. made by the father in a previous war, and she was none too happy about it. But that is a common trope with all these kids. None of them are happy about their father being alive.
I think I said it last time. No matter who did it, I kind of don't blame them, even if it's my job to figure out who it was.
Yeah. As they say, everybody gets one.
There's also the matter of finding out who the successor is, because that is
Yes.
currently up in the air.
I think that's going to be real important for people.
There were also musings of Peter Powell, the elven gentleman who said he was owed a lordship by Frederick, but has yet to receive anything and is currently throwing a fit in the other.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think we determined he probably didn't do it because the king said he would write the letter giving him his lordship in the morning. So it would be in Peter's best interest to ensure the king makes it till morning.
There would be a very particular scenario in which case he could be the guilty party, and that would essentially mean he would have a contact who could give him more than what the king would have given him.
Except he didn't want more, purportedly.
Yeah, if you want to take everything the knife here says at face value, go right on ahead.
I just said purportedly.
Mm-hmm.
Allegedly.
Yeah, we have no better information to work on at this time.
Well, we have a lot of suspects. We're missing something. We need to narrow it down further.
Yeah.
So we had the decapitated corpse of both the king and the maid. We followed up on the knife. We found the secret passage. We determined some of them already knew about the secret passage. Some of them allegedly didn't. We don't really know a lot about the religious side of things.
No.
Hmm.
It certainly wouldn't hurt to check the rooms everyone stayed in last night.
Yeah, I suppose. I'm not sure what we would necessarily find, considering the killing was done with a cleaver from the kitchen.
Yeah.
And as
Maybe
far as we know, there were no other implements used, so.
well, someone's clothing may have ended up with blood on it.
That's true.
Like I said, it's probably worth a look. Worst case scenario, we don't find anything and we're right back here. So
Hmm. I mean, we're not on a particularly strict time schedule.
Yeah.
yeah, they'll survive in one room with each other for a day, I'm sure. Unless one of them
Mm.
decides to kill all the others. Then we'll know who did it, I guess.
The lights go out. Gunshot! No.
Hopefully things don't get that heated. Anyway, we have a lot of rooms to go through. I suppose we just go upstairs, start at one end of the hall, and move down. No need to split up or anything.
Yeah, I guess so. I can't think of any other great leads to follow at the moment.
Throw some
Oh.
nod.
Head upstairs to check out the bedrooms.
Yeah.
All right. Are you going to inform them that you're just going to be going through people's things, or?
Uh,
I don't see the harm as long as they don't have time to stash anything.
yeah,
Yeah.
I guess.
As long as no one is allowed to go up there.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we'll get a reaction out of somebody. And it's only
Exactly.
polite to let someone know we're going to be going through their things. So. Oh, I guess stop by the. Which room are they in? Are they in the foyer or are they in the dining room?
They're in the dining hall.
Oh, okay. Stop by the dining hall then.
Yeah, I believe there's talk of getting them lunch so they don't actually murder each other.
Ah, right. If they all murder each other, this case gets a lot harder.
Or easier.
That's true. It does narrow down the suspect list a little bit when there aren't as many suspects alive.
Yeah.
But then we have to figure out who we're accusing of what murders, and it becomes the whole thing.
I mean, either last man standing gets it, or they're all dead, in which case they can't be punished anyway.
Anyway, I'll enter the dining hall. If I could have everyone's attention for just a moment, we are going to be searching the rooms upstairs, and we just wanted to inform everyone that we're doing that as a courtesy. Unfortunately, we cannot allow anyone to go there before doing so because that could interfere with the investigation. But I would appreciate a warning about anything strange that we may see. And I will watch the crowd for any
Insight.
particular
Yep.
reactions.
Jorson is right there with her.
Where's the server? There it is.
Well, it's not a terrible way to start up the night. Slightly
Yeah.
above average.
What the fuck is my sheet there's?
I got an 18.
I got a 20.
20 plus a number.
Yes.
26.
Oh, damn,
I
someone
got
nat.
20.
Nice.
I love we all three of us have insight.
Everyone is a bit off-put by that. Because it goes from the implication of someone in the house did it to someone very close to possibly one of his own children did it. And well, everyone kind of had that like possibility in their mind, but no one was
Willing to pull the trigger on that.
Yeah, no one was willing to go, well, maybe you did it. No, everyone was just like, but now that's been brought to the forefront. So everyone is a bit nervous, shaken, bothered, perturbed. You see Lexington holding on to 8 vials of holy water.
Oh,
Jeez.
word.
Do you need the amulet still?
Potentially.
We will hand it over when it is no longer relevant.
Did you find any more profane artifacts? I heard Marco screaming about something earlier.
We can talk about that stuff later when the case is closed. In the meantime, I suggest you remain calm and use a shit bucket if you have to.
My lord, I believe you are being a bit,
I believe you're being a bit. I
I'd
understand your faith is very important to you, but you need to chill out, as some might say. There's nobody else in the house working any dark magics. These relics aren't going to get up and start doing shit on their own.
Roll deception? Because one of them technically did.
Well, no, that's debatable. I mean, that's kind of a technicality.
It sounds like it's technically a deception roll.
Would you rather it be persuasion?
I got a 10. No, I would
Hmm.
not rather it be persuasion.
Yeah, so deceive that motherfucker.
So there are more profane artifacts that you don't want me going off gallivanting and doing what should be done as they stain this site with their foul, unholy presence.
You know, for somebody who's so afraid of them, you're awfully eager to get near them.
I'm afraid of the power that they can wield if a follower of such things are nearby. And as there is a murderer still on the loose, I do believe it is in our best interest to cleanse them as quickly as possible.
Then I think it would be in your best interest to stay as far away from them as possible for the time being, since the killer is still at large. Because, if anything, trying to get near them would agitate the killer, if not outright draw their ire. So, unless you want to get demon possessed or whatever the hell it is you're afraid of happening, I suggest you have a seat and cool it.
Grumble, grumble.
During this exchange and the initial notification of going through people's rooms, I'm going to particularly be watching for Tabitha's reactions.
I mean, no one's following up here. There was a statement made that everyone is to stay down here and not fucking follow you guys up.
Yeah.
Tabitha is not elated about having her stuff searched, as one can imagine. Someone who enjoys the power of secrets.
They enjoy their privacy, yes.
Absolutely. But she looks like she acquiesces to the necessity of it.
Okay.
Which is roughly what you get from everyone. It's primarily just it's like, saying one of us did it? That's uncomfortable. I don't know about that. That's do we care?
I promise everything in your belongings will remain confidential as long as it isn't something relevant to the case. And it will only be relevant to the case if it's really bad. You know what I mean. What I'm saying is none of this is going to be used to humiliate you if you have something embarrassing or anything like that.
I
It's
mean,
not your secrets we are concerned about. It's simply finding the truth of the matter at hand.
Although, if I do find something embarrassing, I will chuckle to myself.
It's-
You an incredulous look.
the strongest foundation of
Just because
trust
I'm
has
investigating
been
a murder
established.
doesn't mean I can't amuse myself. Or be amused by things.
So, which room would you like to check first?
I was going to say just kind of all sit together and go from one end of the hall to the other.
I don't have them laid out in a specific order. They can be in whatever order you all decide.
Oh, okay. But what order are the names in the channel where they were posted of that?
I guess that's a fair point.
I guess we'll go in like name of royal person and then their attendance rooms because I think they were separate.
Yes, so that'd be Alexander. He'd be first.
Yeah. Okay.
Make your
That'd
way.
be great.
Make your way
Be
up.
a great announcement.
Sorry.
Be a great announcement after that conversation. And we're starting with Alexander. Rush marches off upstairs.
Yeah.
Make your way to Alexander's room. It is very neat and orderly. He is a good little church boy. But
Easy now.
if you may, if folks can roll investigation, perception, whatever skill they believe they want to do to. Each room has its own fireplace. So each room is going to have this kind of layout with
Damn.
made a notable exception if I mention it. There'll be a very fine bed, a writing desk, a fireplace, and a trunk.
Jesus Christ, how many fireplaces does this place have?
It has a number. It has fireplaces is status.
The rules are insane.
For each room, I think I want to guess start with the fireplace. Because if we think we might find bloody clothes,
They may have
there
tried to
might be.
burn them.
Yeah, so I'm gonna start with the fireplaces and just check, has it been used? If there are ashes, does it look like anything survived the ashes? So on and
I'm
so forth.
I'm gonna start with luggage and personal belongings.
Um, if they're doing those things, I will search the remaining furniture, since I imagine searching like in/under beds and writing desks individually won't take very long. So
Yeah,
just
so-
combining those into one task is probably not hard.
All right. So, Zach, if you could give me your investigation, and then I'd
Right.
love to hear the results from.
Investigation. That's my +5.
Hmm.
19.
19 on searching the fireplace. The luggage and personal belongings. What'd you get? You got an 11, Jorson?
Unfortunately, yes.
And then the desks and all other remaining furniture in the room, we have a 26. Alexander,
Yeah.
very boring. He did use his fireplace last night as it did get chilly. You believe he maybe stayed up a little bit longer than everyone else. Maybe. But if he did do that, going over to the desk, it's because he was copying scripture into a book.
Of course he was.
There are 2 books, one of a completed old tattered scripture for the God of Order, and another one that has many blank pages, but has. Well, you have proficiency at the forgery kit. You would know it's like it's not fresh ink, but comparatively, it's very fresh.
I was just making a new copy of it or something, so
Yeah.
that copy isn't dead. I'll be honest, I was almost hoping he had done it so that he wasn't completely dull.
Oh, and for the sake of cleanliness, if there are ashes on the fireplace, I do have gloves. I would like to use
Oh, yeah.
instead of covering my hands in filth.
I found a new way to find the killer. Fingerprints!
Why has no one ever thought of this before?
And it's unfortunate that would be very troublesome as they are all related.
Yeah. Well,
Fingerprints are unique to every individual person, my guy.
They are not. That is a myth. They are
Oh.
not unique, I promise you. There's entire studies done on it that make it a bitch.
I don't know if I'm going.
I am not sure I believe that.
if only there was some sort of spell to examine hair or blood or skin samples to know whose it was.
Yeah.
As for the 11 going through his personal belongings, he has very nice clothes. I mean,
Yeah, that's fair.
probably nicer than someone who is a devotee to a church should have, but he's fucking royalty. And then I will save you some time. There's no need to go through any of the subordinates' rooms. They are all just as dull, and if not more dull than that. You will not get any evidence from those.
That sounds like the DM trying to unrail us to me. I think we should investigate more now.
Okay.
Is that his subordinates specifically, or all of the subordinates?
All of them.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes it a little faster.
We could have
Except
them
for us, presumably.
I mean, yeah,
One
you
of us
could
be.
you could check each other's rooms. I'm not going to tell you not to. You could check everyone's rooms. I don't care what you do. If you want to ignore the advice, that is your decision.
I think in character, I would like to check every room.
That's
but we can unset
Yeah,
our literal
yeah.
nothing if you want. Like,
Checking my room will be very amusing.
man, why are all the attendants brought so boring except for the three of us? Actually, my room doesn't really have much of it in it either. I didn't really bring a lot.
Yeah, y'all are gonna find my room's boring except for the weird fucking alchemical shit going on.
Why does it smell like sulfur and bat shit?
Huh.
Don't question the process.
Sounds like the material components for Fireball.
You got me, blows you both up.
Yeah.
Speaking of spell components, Frederick is next.
Your boss.
Yes. I don't exactly suspect Frederick, partially because I don't think he would do that or be able to, but in the interest of thoroughness, we should check the room.
So you open the door to his room, and it is a fucking disaster.
God damn it.
It is. It's not like someone tossed the room. I mean, you get that impression at first, but it's books, papers, his clothes, what he wore yesterday, just on the floor, scattered everywhere. There's a chalk circle on the ground where he was working on a spell. It's a mess.
Frederick, you've only been here for one night. Well, let's get started.
Let's see those rolls.
We're rolling investigation again.
Are you guys all going to check the same spots, presumably?
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, sure. No point.
Yeah, if there's not
Okay.
anything extra to check.
I got a 19 again.
I got a 26.
Oh, I didn't get a 40. I got a 28.
How did it think you got 40?
She
I
didn't
forgot
put
the
key
K
on.
one at the end. So
Oh,
kept
just
them both.
added them.
Yeah, I was like, wait a sec. I can't
Yeah,
roll
I was
that.
about to be like, are you fucking kidding me?
Despite his room being a disaster, you all are pretty good at going through it.
Because it's a disaster that
Yeah.
we're good at going through it. Let's be frank.
Xavier, there is. You don't know if he used his fireplace last night. If it doesn't appear that he did. Like, there's no like ashes or soot. Maybe he had another way of keeping himself warm, but it doesn't look like it's been used. Going through his personal belongings is really easy because they're not in any of the trunks or anything. They're on the floor.
You can see them all at the same time.
Yep. He wore that last night. And this is a bunch of arcane nonsense. Do you have knowledge arcana?
No, I don't.
It's a
I've
lot
just
of-
got good intelligence and experience fighting magical things.
It's a lot of magical mumbo jumbo.
I have a lot of intelligence, and I do practice a form of magic, and I work with it. So if that helps. You have that.
I would allow you to make a roll, but primarily because A, you work with him, and you are, like, technically speaking, an intellect-based caster.
I'm an intellect-based kind of caster.
No, you're not. You're a fucking hunter of the demons.
I use blood magic.
That's awesome. He is not working in blood magic. This is like, you're looking at like the formula on how to reconstruct the human DNA structure essentially and turn it into magic.
That really sounds like what I'm doing.
Okay, no.
That sounds fucking awesome. I'm kind of upset I rolled an 8.
I'm Order of the Mutant. That's like my thing.
You know it has to do with like one of the big projects he's got going on, but just because you like recognize some of the notes that he's been working on for the past month and a half, you don't see.
What was that roll? I don't think I heard it.
It was an 8.
Just so that people that are listening can.
Yeah, she said it.
Okay. Then edit this out.
No.
Yes.
But looking through it, it's he's working on something big, and you're happy for him that he's working on something big, but it does, like, that doesn't mean you understand it any better.
Yeah, I assume we talk about magic stuff fairly often, but I'm not as good at it as he is because I'm
The
relatively new to it. So
and that and your specialties are fairly far removed.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you artifice, he biomancies or whatever.
He is not biomancy.
Oh, I don't know what the fuck he is if he's decoding people's DNA.
I said decoding DNA like as an example of how fucking complicated it is to look at the chemical structure of the human DNA pattern.
That's fair.
Which you, as a hunter, that's neat. Bunch of mumbo jumbo. But otherwise, Frederick's room, kind of bland. I mean, it's a mess, but it's a bland mess.
Jesus Christ, is anybody going to be interesting?
Sometimes it just be like that.
Makes things easy. While we're here, I would like to detect any magic in the vicinity. It will take me some time to do it without expending my resources, but it could be worth it.
Okay.
Okay.
It's... Well, I can always come back to that after we check the other rooms.
Probably for the best.
That may be better.
Alright. Next room would be Cassandra.
Okay. Same arrangement, I suppose.
Right, roll. Fuck. Brain.
Cassandra's room is disheveled. Blanket is on the floor. Pillow tossed across the room.
Did you roll that right? Oh no, you haven't rolled that. Never mind. I was wondering why our lovely artificer was not rolling a 13 for a second.
Oh no, I got a 32.
Jesus Christ.
And I have a 24 to sift through these ashes.
I have a 17 to look through personal belongings.
No. So we'll get to you last. 24. Fireplace was used last night. Nothing special. Ashes. You think maybe there is like the scrap of like letters being burnt. With 24, you look at a few names and it's just like, dear Mistress Cassandra Louise, it is, I believe, would be advantageous for both our families if I were to marry, blah blah blah. That's a few letters of suitors that she has very, very much ignored. 32. Going through the desk, you don't see anything of amazing import. You see that she spends a lot of time talking, based on some of the letters that she has out. She spends a lot of time talking to individuals in towns. She doesn't, like, who is, like, the, not necessarily mayor for a town, but whoever's in charge. She talks to them, asks, what do you need? Is there any supplies that you guys are short? How's farming going this year? I heard there was a drought, and she's just touching base with a lot of different towns out in the kingdom to see if they are in need of assistance.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
17.
Yeah, before you go on about that, I'm going to be switching devices now, so sound warning, I suppose, everyone.
Turn you down.
Things will get loud now.
Turn you down
Going loud.
10 degrees. Degrees. Yep, I said it. That's what happened, and that's what we're sticking with.
Okay, I believe I am now switched.
Correct.
Okay.
With 17, you are going through her personal belongings. A lot of boyish clothes. Much more into like I'm going. These are meant to get dirty. These aren't going to stay clean. These are durable. Uh, she doesn't like pretty things. Not her forte. Uh, more practical for what she likes to do, which is go out and start bar fights, according to the rumors you have heard. That being
Yeah.
said, stuffed underneath her mattress and the posts, you see a letter.
Uh-oh.
Interesting. I will take a look at this letter.
When you pull the letter, the ring from last night comes loose with it. The engagement ring. Looking at the ring, it is engraved Jessica Zandrin. And the letter is partially written. It's a letter to Jessica saying that despite her father's disapproval, they will be wed even if she is no longer of a royal line.
Okay, so nothing particularly new. Stuff she's already been announcing to others, essentially.
The no longer being part of a royal line is different.
Oh,
That's
I thought she was saying that, like, even if it, like, no matter what, she was going to end up marrying her, even if her father didn't agree.
that is a thing to say, to put on a brave face most of the time. Actually putting that down in writing and willing to commit to it is a completely separate act.
That's fair.
There's a words and actions are separated, and it looks like she was willing to back up on it.
Yeah.
But you also know that the king didn't necessarily have plans to sit there and disown her or anything like Tabitha. So
No.
perhaps she planned to cut ties.
I'll bring out the letter. Well, it seems she was willing to back up what she claimed.
Yeah. Not incriminating, I would say, but perhaps something to keep in mind. I don't, as far as we know, there weren't any plans to disown her from her father.
Yes.
But maybe she expected it anyway.
It doesn't sound like a particularly strong motive, not yet, at least. No, so.
Yeah. Well, let's get
Yeah.
that. Hmm.
No, I was just agreeing.
Oh. Well, let's put that back where we found it.
Anything else you'd like to do in this room?
No, I'll just stuff the letter back.
Right. Next up would be Daisy.
Daisy. Daisy.
You open the door to Daisy's room, and you are hit with
Daisy.
a it's not noxious, but it's definitely an intense smell of very fragrant flowers, maybe medicines. It is quite the cornucopia of scents.
Great.
Wow, the girl with the flower name likes flowers. So original.
Are there like
Right.
bottles of medicines around or anything like that?
There are a few bottles of medicine. 14, doing good.
Well, you're skilled with alchemy, right, Jorson?
Yes.
Maybe you should be the one to look at those.
Certainly. Do you want me to make a roll with my alchemist supplies?
Yes, I would.
All right. What modifier is that using? 'Cause
Intelligence.
5e's okay. I was gonna say because 5e's not really distinct about that.
5e
Rules.
5e allows it to be up to GM's discretion because it could change depending on what you're trying to do. Like forgery could
Yeah.
be a charisma or a dexterity, very easily. Same thing with intelligence for like identifying a trap, figuring out how a trap works, and then the dexterity to actually disable it.
Yeah. I don't. Do I get bonuses to my alchemy?
For whichever part of the room I search, I got a 28.
Yep. While
Does
he,
she have any ashes in her fireplace?
she does. She also has a cauldron there. It's small. It's 3 posts with a small pot of what probably was some sort of oil or water in there that probably made the room smell like this. So she had a fire going last night to have this scent pumped into the air in her room that you guess might make her feel better. Don't know. With a 21
There's
on
a 21. Yeah.
So with the 21, you go through your personal stuff a little bit. It's nothing exciting. But you focus more on the bottles of medicine, and you can identify them as medicine. Some of this like you were trained in alchemy. You're not necessarily trained in medicines, but you know that some of this stuff, how you can make it.
Yeah.
It's.
I mean, some of my alchemical supplies are still medicines.
Yeah, it's. Some of these bottles are old and dusted, and look like she's been trying this medicine for possibly months or even years, trying to see if it has an effect. It didn't. But the bottle that catches your interest the most is it's not a drink, it's not a drop, it's a oil. And you smell it, and it's very pungent. And it smells like a more intense version of what's in this room. You believe it to be aromatherapy. You don't have medicine, do you?
No, I don't.
I would allow a medicine check.
He's got some medicine in his hand right now.
All right, give me a moment. Okay, +1 to it. Yep, 6.
Whatever it is, it opened up her airways, because it's opening up yours. Woo!
Yeah.
Yo, totally off.
I will again share this with the class. Not the opening up my airways, but I'll keep it very scientific.
No go.
Not to go off topic, but what?
I'll just put it in one of the servers in general. I came across it and I wanted to share it so I don't forget to tell people.
Fair. As for you, Inspector,
Why, yes.
you go through her drawers. Her drawers have more medicine makeup. It looks like wherever she was, medicine was always within reach. But what catches your eye is a folded up letter.
All right. I'll take a look at that.
And you will read it. Dear Malona, my father believes that he knows best, but unlike my sister Alexis, I lack the power to tell him otherwise. We are both to be wed to people who we hold no love, but he believes he is doing it for my help. Alexis will be the broodmare of some warlord, and I will be the crown jewel of some aristocrat who believes he can cure me. What I wouldn't do to change my lot. With love, Daisy Louise.
Who was that written to?
To Emalona.
Okay. Seems like Daisy felt powerless about her situation, and which that's understandable. I suppose that could be a motive, but she also sounds rather defeated here in the letter, and like she's I don't want to say accepted what's happening, but it doesn't sound like something you say when you're taking action about it.
Insight with disadvantage? Maybe glean more? I say that kind of jokingly, kind of not.
Can I roll insight on this paper?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess like that's a thing.
Trying to read in between the lines. I'd allow an insight, but I would say it's a disadvantage because you're reading a piece of paper and not actually having them actively say these words in front of you.
Yeah.
So wouldn't that cancel out your advantage only?
I don't have advantage on insight. My insight, though, the die
right.
is minimum 8. Or maybe it was minimum 7. Let me actually check that before rolling, because that could be relevant with disadvantage. Oh no, sorry, that's for deception specifically. You're for deceit. Whenever you make an insight check to determine whether a creature is lying, choose to roll a 7 or lower on the d20 as an 8.
Don't believe that this is to detect a lie, so.
Yeah, I don't think it is either.
Looking for
roll. Okay, so the lower one is the 11, so 21. That's a pretty good roll, actually.
Still a pretty fucking good roll. 21. You don't. She's a frail woman. But you know that she's been like recovering and has recently gotten back into like being able to do normal things normal adults can do. Walk around on her own. She's able to make long journeys on her own. She has this taste of freedom and power that the rest of her siblings had all their life because she's been sickly all her life. Everyone knows this. But as soon as she starts feeling better, she's being sent away to go live in a different gilded cage. She's not cut off from the coffers. Daddy would do anything for her. So there could be potential motive here. It's not that she's defeated. It's she's not sure she can do anything about it. The rest of her siblings are far stronger and smarter than her.
Yeah. But could she have made the cuts that we saw? Who did she bring with her anyway?
Primarily, she had other servants.
Should it not be considered that she might have had magical aid in doing so?
Maybe.
I know there are concoctions and spells that would allow one to break the limits of their own strength and possibly even constitution.
True. On the concoction side, have you found anything relevant to that?
I will say, because of how well you rolled for your alchemy, theoretically, with the supplies here, you could make a pretty good get up and go. You could make meth. You could make steroid meth. Fairly easily. She is a
down in Florida, we call that bath salts.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
But if you think if you wanted to make something that wasn't extreme, you could probably make it, like, you can easily get the supplies out of here to do it. With a few of your own supplies, you could probably make whatever the hell you wanted with all of the drugs and chemicals she has in here. Whether or not she has that knowledge, you don't know.
Well, I can say for certainty that whether her abilities would supplement it or not, I could make something with all of the medicine she has around here.
I see. That's good
There's
to know.
more than enough materials to put together a wide variety of different concoctions.
So, based on her or her attendant's knowledge, or potential knowledge, there is a possibility she could have enhanced temporarily to carry out the act, if she desired. All right. Well, someone is taking care of her medicines. Either she's doing it herself or someone she brings with her is. As with the previous rooms, I think we should keep these things in mind, but keep looking further to gain more of a picture of of all of the visitors.
Is there anything else?
Despite not being able to identify specifically what it did, I would like to take a sample of that aromatherapy drug that caught my eye.
Okay, that's not a problem.
I'll just put it in the spare vial, one of the many spare vials I probably have, and pocket it.
Okay,
All right,
anything else for this room?
Not that I can think of.
Next up. What was that? Sorry.
Oh, I just said not that I can
Oh,
think
I
of
was
for this
agree-
room.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
Yeah,
I heard you cut in real quick and then cut back out. So next up would be...
no, I was just saying, nah.
Next up would be Alexis.
Where's the sword? Fuck. There it is.
On they one.
21 if the fireplace does have ashes. If not, I will start something else, I guess.
Same order as before. You're gonna get the desk, and Jorson's gonna get the personal belongings.
Yeah, might as
I
well.
figure.
I was looking at like desk and bed, I think.
Okay.
And for that I got a natural 20, if it matters, for a 33 total.
Hell, shit. So you find. Bring up her room.
Expertise is a hell of a drug, kids.
It is a hell of a drug.
Expertise and consistent advantage.
Yeah, if you want to play this, just play the insightful rogue, like, or whatever inquisitive rogue. Sorry, it's crazy for these things.
So
Like, I knew it was
Might
gonna be
worth a
good.
level.
What was that?
That might be worth a level dip or two.
Let's see.
Whatever levels you get that at, maybe.
That comes at where is it? Ah, there it is. Steady Eye is at 9th level.
So
Okay, so not a dip.
Yeah,
that
is all of the levels I have in Rogue, actually.
the main thing that everyone kind of gets that draws their attention to in the room is on the desk. It's a large box. It is opened and it contains very fragrant perfumes. Not as, it's a kind of a palate cleanser coming from Daisy's room. But they still, like, have a distinct smell.
Yes, Alexis always had good taste.
Well, you say that. What you also find is that there are the remnants of a burnt letter on her desk, which was obviously burned by candle, and it reads as such. What's remaining is this. I want you to wear this when we meet. It has been known to increase ecstasy and pleasure. It will make it all the better when I ... It doesn't actually go on. That's just kind of where it gets burnt off.
Ah, I see. This is what she didn't want to talk about on the ride here. Makes a lot more sense now.
Understandable.
I will kind of look away and distaste and go back to what I was doing.
You can only imagine the smut that was written.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. Thanks.
So did she bring this with her, or was it sent here waiting for her?
She, had received it very shortly before we were to be coming here. I could tell that she was a little perturbed by the letter, but she refused to speak to me about it, so I,
So,
know my place. I did not press her for more information.
Xavier, you know that she got the box. It was just the box, wrapped up very nicely, very neatly, previously, but she knew where it was from, and just didn't want to open it for the longest time. And, everyone started drinking last night, everyone got mad, and was just like, you know what, let's fucking rip this Band-Aid off. Yep, just as bad as I thought. Cool.
Yeah.
I assume the letter was just in the box or something.
The remnants of the letter are on her desk. It was apparently burned by candle.
Oh, I mean, like, I wouldn't know this, obviously, but I mean, like, the letter was sent in the box, probably.
It's a very nice box. Very big.
But yeah.
Fucking very expensive perfume in there. Like,
yeah.
You look at that, it's like, that vial right there of perfume, probably 25 gold by itself.
And all right. Let's see what else is in here. If anything.
The box?
No, in the room. Or in the box, if there is anything in there. I'm not going to dig too deep. Like, I'm not going to mess with that too much, though.
It looks like it's just meant to be like a nice little case to have. I say little, it's probably about a foot by foot. Not like filled to the brim with perfume. You think there's maybe 300 gold worth of perfume in there. But that is beside the point. Rest of the room, if Xavier, you know this, she very simple. It's like armor goes here, clothes go here, I sleep here. My personal effects get pushed off to the side. And going through personal effects, it's like she's got like 2 or 3 shirts, like 2 or 3 outfits. All of them are you've probably seen worn by someone in the military more than you'd see a princess. Because that's technically what she is. She is technically a princess, though she does not act it. Although, do any of them?
Yeah.
Last room would be Tabitha's.
Onward. And there's each other's rooms, I suppose.
Yes. The last of the siblings' rooms is Tabitha's.
Yeah.
right.
Fucking nat 20 on the search, 15 on that. Jesus Christ. Note to
Yeah,
self.
my-
Increase DCs. No, it's fine.
Hey, we just all happen to have this kind of stuff.
And next time, just don't tell us what the theme's gonna be, and then we won't.
Yeah, no, that's on me.
Yeah.
To be fair though, I didn't want you to just like we're just gonna fumble around in this place. We don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, this was the kind of thing that, like, knowing what it was beforehand was probably really good. Otherwise, this would have like been just impossible.
Oh yeah,
But
I would be very frustrated if I were prepared for like a dungeon crawl. And,
I am not a fan of combat in D&D, so
fair.
primarily just because I'm not a fan of running combats in general, but that's a personal preference and fault of mine. All right, so let's go through the list. The desk is not used. She either didn't trust the desk, maybe, or didn't like it, but you don't think she even pulled the chair out.
Okay. The desk might be a mimic. I'm gonna stay over here.
Yeah, give me 1 moment. Something. Because I didn't copy paste like I'm supposed to. Doesn't help that I also don't know the fucking name of it. Randy, you have prepared poorly. Do better.
You are not prepared.
Really was. It also doesn't help that my Chrome is not. Well, I'm not even using Chrome. My Opera is only 5 seconds per minute.
Fuck. Fucking Dark Souls 3 clip, dude just fighting a pair of dogs, and then one like is doing the side dash thing, manages to clip through a like wall and ends up running along the ceiling of a cave, and then it like I guess falls through the map and dies a few seconds later.
Jeez.
That's rough. And you you don't even get those souls back.
No, it's an enemy that died, not a player.
So I can't find the name of it. I think it was a homebrew item, and which is why I didn't have a name for it. One thing that you find in the chest, Jorson, is a like a stiletto dagger that you know her to have like stuck in keyholes to lock it. Because as long as it stays there, there's no way to unlock it, even magically.
that's fair.
Oh, I think I've seen those things before. I don't remember what it's called or if it's in 5e, but those are cool.
I don't know what it's called either, which is why I was trying to find it. I have it written down as stiletto of locking.
It,
It's called jam it into keyhole.
I was like, wait, can't you do this with a regular one if you push hard enough?
Yeah, this one doesn't magic.
It does it
That's true.
magically.
That
However,
is to say, really well.
Xavier,
Yep.
you go through the fireplace
Oh,
and
boy.
you find like just like covered up with it's like covered with ashes, but like naturally covered up with ashes is a bit of white blouse with a dark brown stain on it, and it seems burnt.
Holy shit, it's still white. Oh,
It's you. It was
fuck
once.
it's made out of.
It was white once upon a time.
Oh, okay, so it's like okay, I got you. Look what I have here. I'll pinch it between my fingers and hold it up for the other two to see.
Oh, what have you found? I'll move over to look at it.
Is
Ah,
a piece of fabric, and I am inclined to believe it would belong to. I'll rub my. I'll take that glove off and then rub it between my fingers to feel the fabric and be like, I think that's shirt material, and that stain does match the color of dried blood.
Excuse me.
does the stain match the color of dried blood upon looking closely?
I will offer it if they want to look at it up close.
Yeah,
Yeah. You may have to hold it down
will
a little lower.
offer to take a look into it fast.
It does look like it is dried blood.
I'm not gonna lie, I was half expecting Xavier to like taste it and be like, "Yep, that's dried blood."
Ashes.
Wow. Wow. I'm glad to know that you think so highly of me.
No, it was when you were like
Yeah.
pulling the glove off and going through that whole the
Oh,
beginning of a few sentences, and I'm like, I don't know why I thought that's what was gonna happen.
God. Even better. Yes, it tastes like shirt. Just like a glass.
And I think that might be blood on it. I'm not sure.
Don't even lick the bloody part. You just lick the shirt.
Yeah, like, yep, that's fabric and ash. This shirt's a bit overcooked.
Yes.
Uh,
Level your cooking skill.
but
Yeah.
it is everyone taking a look at it. I'm not gonna. It's like examine you roll investigation for the dried
I'm gonna stand up on
Brad?
tiptoe,
piece of fabric.
use my lens of seeing, which also operates as a mundane magnifying glass, to look closely at the scrap of fabric.
Oh, try to mind. Well, actually, it's not hard for me to hold still. I have to hold completely still while
Oh, I
she
was gonna-
examines it.
Yeah. Ah, I see. That does appear to be dried blood, which is well exactly what we were looking for when we came up here. Hmm.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can attain any insight into the past around it.
All right. Jorson came with Tabitha, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Just stuffs it in his mouth. What evidence?
Well, yeah.
Stuffs it in mouth, draws weapons. Fuck you! I'm the killer.
Like as Jorson is going to hold it, if he like closes his eyes or anything, I'll like look up toward Xavier's discolored eye and like flick my eyes toward Jorson and then back to Xavier.
All right, 21.
21.
I watched the man's.
Yes, 21 for grim psychometry.
Grim psychometry.
Well, there was double homicide last night, and now you get to see it from the perspective of a shirt. Isn't that great?
Your
It's
shirt
just like-
POV, Pog.
Like first person view, except like lower. It's kind of like a first person shooter because the guns are always like way higher than they should.
Yo, does it have BFG vision playing in the background?
Jesus. You see a relatively slender arm hack through Vanessa's head, one foul swoop, and then time passes, and you watch as they chop off Frederick's head.
Oh, grimace a little bit. Oh,
I say slender. That's like, what's your strength? Wasn't it like 15 or 16?
my strength?
Yeah.
My strength is 18.
Oh, every arm is fucking more slender than yours.
So wrong.
Yeah, like
Your arms are probably like
What?
as big as my whole torso.
yes, probably.
So yeah,
But given my familiarity with Tabitha, does it look like Tabitha arms?
I mean, It could be. It's roughly the same tone.
Mhm.
Is that the shirt?
Translation, they're siblings with, I'm guessing, is a similar body type
Yes,
across all the ladies.
Yes, and Frederick. Actually, Frederick is probably
Wow.
Frederick probably actually has a lower strength than
Damn.
I mean, I know Alexis is probably like a lot more buff than Daisy. I
yes.
imagine Tabitha is somewhere in between
Um,
the two extreme ends.
what here's what I will meta tell you. You
Okay.
can rule out Daisy for sure.
Yeah.
Daisy's not a suspect.
Yeah, I think that's a given. She doesn't have the strength to even with something as sharp as the cleaver, it would
Well,
probably take her at least
it was
two
a
swings.
possibility. It was a
Oh, right,
possibility with drugs, but
Yeah,
now
yeah.
seeing her, now
Performance
seeing the
enhancing drugs.
build, it can't be Daisy because she's not built like that.
No.
Yeah.
She drank a strength potion that buffed her up to Tabitha's strength and build.
Alexander's strength is
Yeah.
roughly the same as yours. It's not Alexander.
Oh my God, what if Daisy is a fucking Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde?
That'd be awesome.
Oh man, that'd be fucking something.
I have such things to discuss once this game is
Fucking
over.
shenanigan in us, Brandon. You fucking trying to roll Daisy out so we don't figure this out. You fucking playing some games with us right now.
I am playing a game with these called D&D.
Understand.
GM.
And you feel confident ruling out Frederick, which leaves you 3 people.
As much as I want to be suspicious of the wizard.
There's some bias
Yeah.
attached to that.
Wow.
You know, I mean, magic makes it easier to get away with shit.
So that's what
It
you have to
also
go.
was kind of sus that he wasn't sus.
That's why I learned it myself, so it's easier to do my job, and because it's very enjoyable, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
So that is.
I can say for certain that the shirt is related to the murder.
Yes.
Both of them.
Yeah.
And no, I'm saying the same character.
Oh, sorry.
And I can say for certain that it was neither of the sons, nor was it Daisy.
Well,
Okay.
Frederick hasn't been particularly suspicious, so that tracks. There was some reasons to be suspicious of Alexander, but I mean, well, I know I was the one that suggested it. I know it was a reach. As far as Daisy, I know we discussed drugs, but I'm assuming you saw something in the vision that would go against that.
Perhaps some of the features of whoever did this.
So it would be between the 3 sisters then, excluding Daisy.
Yes.
So Cassandra, Alexis, and Tabitha. Finding the remnants of the blouse in Tabitha's fireplace is, well, in a manner of speaking, that's smoking evidence.
Where is it? I have to find the GIF.
It's not impossible that someone other than Tabitha could have snuck in here specifically to destroy evidence while she slept. But
Which is what I was going to say.
She would be the easiest to frame.
It could have been planted, yes. However, then the question is, could anybody have snuck in last night? Or did anybody have an opportunity to sneak in during the day? However, I'm pretty confident that all of the siblings, since the discovery of the body, were in a group.
yes.
And everybody, as I recall, was woken up when the body was found. So if somebody planted it, it would have had to have been during the night before the body was discovered.
Yes.
So we should go
Siblings.
find the guard captain. If anybody would know, if anybody was up and about in the middle of the night, it would be one of the guards, I would assume.
Just as a covering basis, the siblings would have all been corralled since the discovery of the murder, but that's not necessarily ring the same for their attendance.
They have been too.
That's not technically true.
I thought it was. I thought like everyone in the manor was corralled into one place except for us.
There were 2 occasions in which 2 of their associates were unaccounted for from you guys and potentially from the guard captain. Marco ran off screaming when the ghost popped up,
That's
and
true.
Lexington stormed off when you guys refused to drown the amulet.
Which one? Oh, Lexington was Alexander's. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marco is Cassandra's.
You know,
Yes.
that is a very interesting thought. Lexington. Because I'm assuming Lexington has told Alexander about the amulet.
Yes.
And plus,
certainly.
we've discussed it in front of everybody else about a potential other artifact. Alexander has not been one to speak up about it or say anything in regards to it, but Lexington has been very adamant to try to be involved and has been very vocal.
True. I did find it odd that Alexander himself hadn't spoken.
Alexander, I believe, may have known about his father's inclinations before his death.
To Mr. Psychometry here, Lexington would fit the build.
Lexington also would have fit the build for what I saw in my vision.
Because he's not as strong as you or Alexander. That is plainly obvious.
I am going to roll insight when he says that. Just because I want to be sure he's not lying, since I do know he is Tabitha's guest.
Okay.
And this isn't Tabitha's room, so covering bases.
Sure thing.
Make a dice roll, and you can message me what it is.
Sure.
Doing that.
Well, I did it in a public channel before you said that.
Well, no, for what, Damiani?
Oh, I mean,
Gotcha.
I guess I'm gonna roll with my all -2 to any of these.
I did get nat 2026.
Yep. And
then I literally can't beat that.
Did you roll deception or persuasion?
Persuasion, I guess.
we'll roll persuasion. I like to, whenever the characters are suspicious of each other, have both parties roll. And then if the defending party, the one that's either lying or telling the truth, they can just say whatever if they score higher. That way there's not, it's just like, I used persuasion or I used deception. No.
Yeah. That makes sense.
That way there's not a metagame.
I think it's a little moot, given that like the outcome is decided as I cannot roll that high.
Fair.
And that's pretty known. Like, no one's been seeing Jorson go around be the charismatic one.
Well, or he could be really charismatic, pretending to not be
Yeah, that 6 charisma is really fooling you all on how not charismatic I am.
Jorson is speaking with honesty.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay.
Very simply, I did not see who it was. I simply saw that they had a lighter build. Given that Frederick is too light, he is out. And given that Alexander is not light enough, he is out. But I did not see if it was male or female.
Lexington would have some motive. Because even if Alexander has been quiet, maybe even Alexander had no intention. Or maybe Alexander commanded him to do it. Or maybe he did it of his own volition. I don't know.
Give me. I would accept from anyone knowledge, religion, or knowledge history.
Sorry, knowledge, religion, or what?
Knowledge history.
I'll take knowledge history. I've got that.
I'll take
Something-
knowledge. Sorry.
Something else too, with my keen mind, eidetic memory. Was anybody wearing something with that particular, or that was made of that particular fabric last?
A few. It's a standard undershirt.
Oh, okay.
So yes, but that doesn't really help narrow it down.
Oh, okay. I think
I
the
also
religion
find it
history
interesting that I got 26, but before that, I
Nice.
find Jorson will definitely find it interesting that all of this talk has been destroy the amulet, destroy the heretical stuff, not tell everybody that the king was a heretic, because that very much covers for Alexander, whether deliberately or by accident.
Yeah, that's true.
Uh,
And I got a 24.
He would absolutely have motive to murder him to keep Alexander's name clear.
and what I will inform you of is that as he is part of Alexander's retinue, Alexander is highest on the totem pole, and they're their own separate totem pole. If that high point gets brought down, the rest of the pole goes with it.
Yeah, and so he has everything to lose as well should Alexander's name get besmirched.
Because guilt by association is a thing in modern times, let alone in fantasy settings
mean,
with a religious sect.
That's the whole danger to Alexander himself is guilt by association. There's no reason why that would stop at Alexander.
Yeah. Did did Lexington seem surprised about finding out about the amulet? Like, was that new information to him, or was he just kind of appalled about it?
Give me an insight. If you roll it at base, if you have anything that will give you like an advantage or anything.
I didn't even think to make an insight roll during that time.
I didn't see that.
I wasn't even suspicious of him.
You're
This
able
is
to
why I
make,
got.
yeah, keen
This
mind.
is why I have keen mind.
Yeah,
Keen mind is great for stuff
is.
like this.
Oh, it's so good.
Is
Yeah,
so
it's also just cool. Like, I think it's neat thematically.
My-
17.
damn. My favorite thing is just like, what time is it? It's this time.
Yeah.
I know exactly the time. We're underground. I can even keep track of it underground. It's 9
Actually,
o'clock.
I'm counting the seconds while I'm doing everything else. My mind is that keen.
Yes.
Okay,
17.
Dr. Stone, calm the fuck down there.
Also gives you +1 intelligence, which is nice when you have an odd number, which I did.
Yeah, there's not a lot of intelligence-based feats.
So
Well, there's
the amulet shocked him. What the amulet was connected to did not. It's
the amulet connected. What it was connected to being the king's faith, or the like statue.
the king's faith. He doesn't know anything about the statue.
Oh, okay. It's probably best that he doesn't find out about that. He might actually die on the spot.
But like looking back at it, it's like if you had to frame it in a positive connotation, if you had a friend that is just like, oh, I have a friend, they're really good at chess, and then you go and find out like 2 months later, wait, they're a grandmaster at chess? What the fuck did I miss? I didn't know you were a grandmaster. Yeah, I was just good at chess.
Yeah. Oh, so he's like, he's a follower of the god of chaos. I don't approve of that, but I've got my own job to do, and he's the king. Oh, he's a high priest of the god of chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. I see.
My thought is perhaps that we might be able to, as it were, smoke him out.
How so?
If we were to claim that we found the evidence, but not in Tabitha's room, whom very possibly he might be trying to frame, or it might be hers, regardless. We claim that it was another that, and we might be able to get a reaction out of him
We
about it.
definitely get a reaction if we said we found it in Alexander's.
Mm-hmm. My thought exactly.
Yes.
I think it would also benefit to go talk to the guard captain to see if there was anybody seen sneaking about the corridor. Granted,
concur.
it could be a waste of time because if such activity was known, I feel like it would have been brought up this morning. So that may not be necessary now that I think about it.
You did say that if like anyone goes upstairs, you stop them and you tell us. So.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm talking about the night before
Oh.
the murder had been discovered. Because in the morning he didn't say anything about there being anybody seen moving around upstairs at night. And I'm of the impression that they had been on guard throughout the night upstairs. So
There should be at least a skeleton crew.
yeah.
What is so I had my seal defender watching the hallway that our rooms were attached to. Is it intelligent enough to, like, if I asked it like a yes or no question, like could it
Yes.
nod or shake its head? Oh, okay. Let me actually. I guess like while I was asking that, I was like, I guess I could just check its stats and see if its intelligence isn't like one.
The only thing it can't do is speak. So
Yeah, it can understand language.
yeah. And you
Which
did set it to
some
watch.
amount of intelligence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
And you did set it to watch, so it will have information.
Yeah. All right, so I'll call her over and say, "Did you see anybody go into this room last night that wasn't the original one who went into here when we all went to sleep?"
Tabitha's room, right?
Yes.
No.
Did anybody leave this room last night before we were woken up?
No.
So
Interesting.
then it might have been placed here during the day. It would have to
Perhaps.
be if your contraption is correct.
If your contraption is correct.
There is something else. There are secret doors and such around this house. I'll pull out a small metal wand. It's kind of a double helix shape, tapering to a point at one end, and I'll place it horizontally on my hand and activate it so it will levitate in the air and begin turning like the needle of a compass. So it is a wand of secrets. While holding it, I can use an action to expend one of its charges, and if a secret door or trap is within 30 feet of me, the wand pulses and points at the one nearest to me, and regains D3 charges at dawn.
Specifically,
Nice.
trap or door, correct?
Yeah, if a secret door or trap.
Okay.
Within 30 feet, it's actually a pretty big radius too. This thing's better than I.
Yeah, that's a great dungeon delving tool.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
this is my other infusion. If anyone was wondering.
Nice.
All right. It takes a moment to spin, and it points. Within 30 feet, it points to it. Otherwise, is it inert?
Yeah, I assume it'll just either not point to anything solidly or just turn off and fall back in my hand.
It will hover for a moment, spin, as if it's searching, and then come back to resting in your hand.
All right. Well, it doesn't seem that there are any secret doors in here. So I'll kind of like point as I speak and like tap my chin with it as I think. What you said about someone planting evidence during the day may hold true.
Hmm.
Yeah.
As Tabitha could not have come in here during the day, and I have been with you the entire time.
Yes.
There are
The-
all the rooms do have a window.
That's true.
Oh, that's true. Oh, they do have a window.
That'd be worth taking a look at.
Yeah.
I will.
Turn slowly toward the window and then. Oh, sorry.
I will pop the
Oh.
window open and check to see if there's any clear, like, I assuming it is Tabitha.
Landed.
Assuming it is Tabitha, her potentially being a professional, maybe there's not. But I'll see if there's like any clear signs of scuff marks from shoes or scratches or anything like that from any climbing going on.
Okay.
I'll do the same.
I guess
I've got to kind of jump and grab the ledge to hold myself up to look, but get there.
Investigation.
Uh-oh.
Investigation. A 14.
Should I roll 2 or just let in? Let that.
You can roll 2. That you're doing this is investigating.
Okay. Yeah, for collective rolls.
With our powers combined. I wasn't trying to steal someone else's like thunder. Basically, that was my concern.
He's not gonna get anything on a 14.
Oh, okay. What about a 17? Because that's what I got.
What about a 16? Aha!
None of you see any signs of any scuff marks of someone like climbing. Bushes don't look disturbed. You don't see any signs of unnecessary gymnastics.
Well, if it was somebody, if they did come through the window, they definitely know what they're doing.
Yes. I'll look up toward the ceiling if there's any like attic access or anything like that.
Any not so secret doors?
Yeah.
No, I would have made mention to it.
Oh.
Yeah.
The question remains of whether someone planted this during the day, I think.
Yeah. So I will. I guess. Are we done in here?
I believe so.
Okay. So I will head down the hall, and there's a guard at the bottom of the stairs, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I will ask the guard if anyone other than the three of us, because we're investigating, anyone other than us has been up these stairs.
Marco and Lexington were when they were with you originally. Lexington has since come down and stayed down.
Since everybody has come downstairs. Anybody else?
Not that I have seen.
Insight.
We said
Insight. Well,
you said Lexington came down, but not Marco. Is Marco down here?
Both Marco and Lexington came down at some point. But they were up with you originally, so he kind of just waved them. He didn't
just
register them.
I'll just nat 20 another insight roll, I guess.
Are you inciting as well, Thorson?
Yeah, though the nat 20 beats me.
Being honest, you think he's like that little idiotic one. It's like, well, I walked upstairs, but that's because I had to get to the top of the stairs.
Okay. leave the stairs for any duration of time that would cause you to not see somebody coming up the stairs without somebody assuming your post.
No, I haven't really moved from this spot. I've really actually needed to pee for a while.
Okay. If I see a guard, I will let them know to relieve you for at least a few moments.
Please.
Okay.
Poor dude.
Look, I might be rude,
That was a very
but I'm not an
sincere plea.
asshole.
He's doing his job.
Yeah.
Okay. So that answers that.
Well,
Oh my god, a fucking dark joke popped into my head.
uh,
Hand the guard a bottle. Congratulations, you work at Amazon now.
Oof.
oh jeez.
Not sponsored. Not sponsored.
No, definitely not. They're not going to sponsor after that comment.
No, they're not.
Yeah, we are sponsored. They specifically wanted us to say that. It was a really weird meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turns out Jeff Bezos, total piss fetish.
Allegedly.
Really,
That would
Allegedly.
explain a lot.
Allegedly. Legally, I have to say allegedly.
Legally, I don't have to say shit.
Actually, you really don't have to say legally if it's clearly a joke. Jokes are protected by law.
Until Amazon changes the law.
They won't be able to change that one.
Moving forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's telling the truth, and he's been doing his job.
I, out of character, do not remember who Marco was here with.
Marco's with Cassandra, one of the big guys.
He's one of the big Jack.
Yeah, Marco's Cassandra's attendant, and what's his face is Alexander's.
Lexington.
That's it.
Okay, so Tabitha didn't leave her room last night, unless she went out the window.
Yes.
So she's still on the table. Lexington still on the table. Is there anybody else that we feel is still on the table?
Cassandra, perhaps, but that would require some more work than the other two.
Yeah.
It is possible that she could have had Marco transfer the evidence, but
And she absolutely had motive, but Lexington is at the forefront of my suspicions at the moment.
mine as well.
Then I think we proceed with Lexington. Because honestly, with the evidence and the conversations I've had with Cassandra's retainers, I'm not inclined to believe that she's a guilty party or her retainers.
Fair enough. Can you go over again the plan that you had about seeking a reaction from Lexington? I assume we're having this somewhere private, not like right next to the guard or anything.
Yeah. It was simple that we accuse
Alexander.
not Alexander. Sorry, OC brain flip. We accused Alexander as to get a reaction out of Lexington. If his entire goal is to keep Alexander's name clean by any means, then he will likely react very, very harshly to his plans going awry.
I will say, real quick, keen mind feet. You remember last night, after the dad's big outburst, after the king's big outburst, Cassandra ripped off her nice frilly dress to show off what was essentially peasant garb, which would not match the fabric found.
So Cassandra's not, unless she changed.
Unless she changed.
Did she have anything? Oh. No, I mean like the peasant garb didn't match what was burned, right?
No,
Yeah.
And I assume her dress didn't either, if you bring that up.
no. Like I
Yeah,
said, she.
That's what I mean. Is
Sorry.
sorry, go on. I was gonna say, so unless she changed last night, then she doesn't match the outfit.
Yeah. And for the most part, going through her clothes, it's like she wore simpler clothes. Yeah, there was some fabrics that matched, but they like it's cotton.
Yeah.
Or would it be linen?
I'm not actually sure.
I think it's
Peasants would be like flax stuff.
yeah. Not the point.
Okay.
Cotton is more of a like richy thing.
It may be worth
Cotton and
looking in Lexington's belongings. It's not guaranteed that he would necessarily have the same number of every kind of article of clothing, but if he does for everything except for having one less shirt than everything else, that might be something. Which we actually already did look through that, so just think back.
having keen mind feet. Ba-ba!
Man, it makes things so much easier to
It
roll.
does.
Yeah.
Looking back at it, he had a mix match of amounts of things. Like he had 3 overshirts, 2 undershirts. You think the only pair of pants he has is the ones he's wearing. You elected not to count his underwear.
Yeah. Okay. So that doesn't help.
I think we should go ahead and we pull Lexington into private and question him. Because I think if we do the accusation in front of everybody, it's going to turn into a shitstorm. I think it's important that we try to maintain a controlled environment.
My worry is that if we question him, he'll shut down.
Maybe. But if our suspicions are correct, he'll talk.
Those of us in this profession have an eye for such things.
Yeah. That said, he could be a good actor. It wouldn't be the first time I'd seen a man of the church get caught really, really deep within lies. And everybody be shocked to discover that they were a consummate liar.
It is startlingly common.
So, if we think we're ready, I suggest that be our next course of action.
I believe I'm ready.
Jorson will nod.
All right. So, head over to the room where everybody else is.
They're not eating, they're all just kind of sitting around the table now, talking.
Yes. I will quietly walk by Mr. Lexington and tap him on the shoulder and be like, we would like a word in private. And we'll gesture towards the door we came through.
Looks confused, but stands up and follows.
Is he any noticeable tics or anything that could be a sign of nerves?
Insight.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
Let me just nat 20 this real quick.
Are you gonna fucking?
You didn't.
I got a 17.
Well, I can't roll above what. I'm sorry, I cannot remember your character, Zazie. Sorry, I'm terrible with names.
28.
I can't roll above that, but I will roll nonetheless.
My first name is actually Inspector, and my last name is Zazie.
Oh my god.
Well, I definitely didn't roll above that.
He looks pathetic. That's what you get with that 9.
Oh, we already knew that.
Yeah. How insightful.
17. He there's this air of we have things to do. There's something that we need to handle. There's shit that needs to be done. With a 28. Guy doesn't necessarily he doesn't look nervous per se. It looks like he'd rather be doing anything else but playing murder mystery. He's
yeah.
I have
Signs of a killer.
I have other duties to attend to. This is nonsense. I don't care. There are profane artifacts and relics on the site. It's just the shit he's been preaching this entire time.
The low-key actual psychopath behavior.
Yeah.
But you pull him.
One of the three pillars.
You pull him aside. Yes. Are we? Have you solved it? Can we
I swear if you
cleanse
ask
this
if
house?
We're going to destroy the artifacts.
I will produce the tattered, burnt remains of the blouse in a gloved hand. This was discovered in Alexander's fireplace.
What?
Yes.
How did you find that in Alexander's fireplace? That's impossible.
Well, we went into his room, and it was within the ashes of his fireplace. So, if you're certain it's impossible, please enlighten us.
I see someone typing, so I'm holding on.
Oh, I was just getting the insight roll set up. So
Oh, okay.
Understandable.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way he. Why would he kill his own father? That makes no sense.
Well, he certainly was aware of his father's faith, at least to some degree.
I
As
mean,
you so vehemently said yourself, his father is a heretic.
yes. His father's
Would
a
that
heretic.
not put his position in the church in a compromising position?
I mean, it would. But we'll report him to the church and have the authorities take care of it. Although, I guess, I mean, maybe. I just don't believe it. Alexander always spoke so highly of his father. When he heard rumors of his profane worship, he was taken aback.
I want insight at this point.
Do you sincerely believe that he killed him?
Oh, for fuck's sake! I'm gonna use a racial ability. Fuck, it's 13.
Oh,
Just not enough.
I got a 17. Wait, what racial ability was that anyway?
I'll talk about it later.
Oh, okay.
Let me. God damn it!
I mean, seems honest.
we're not
Yeah.
just on here. Okay. Well, we have confirmed that these remains of this blouse was in fact what was worn when both murders took place. And thus finding it in Alexander's fireplace is quite damning. So, unless we can find any clear evidence that someone else did it, Alexander is going to be the one to take the fall here.
That's preposterous. That's. Have you? What about his sister? What's her name? The shifty one, the one that he made wanted to disown.
I stare
quite
very
innocent,
hard
to
at
be
him.
honest.
You stare hard at him, is that what you said?
Yes.
Real. So, did anyone tell any of
Menace.
the others here that Vanessa had been murdered?
Yes. Because you guys
Oh, okay.
called guards. It's like, hey, this happened.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Word
fuck.
gets around quick.
Yeah. Sorry, carry on.
But quite innocent. Although it seems like you have some different inclinations.
Are
Care
you?
to elaborate why you immediately jumped to Miss Tabitha as a...
She's a
guilty
scoundrel.
Oh, really? It's a very interesting choice of words. So, you think she just, what, killed 2 people and framed Alexander, of all people?
I mean, if she is a heretic like her father, yes, she would do such a thing. His voice is getting louder.
At that, I look at the other 2.
I kind of just cross my arms, like one elbow resting on the other one to hold my pipe and just raise an eyebrow.
So, you're of the mind Alexander is too good of a man to get his hands dirty.
Absolutely.
But you would do anything to protect his reputation.
Excuse me?
Simple question.
I don't like what you're getting at.
What am I getting at?
Are you trying to accuse me of murder? Of regicide? He is, at this point, yelling.
I'm just saying, if the shoes fit, and you, well, I would say good, but I think we're past that now. Have some very colorful opinions about the person who was framed and the person that was killed last night.
I will not stand for this.
No, I don't think you will. I'm gonna call a guard.
Oh, I was just gonna grab him. And, like,
I mean, you're free to grab him until the guard gets here.
I thought you were gonna just knock him over. Like,
so.
no, I don't think you will. Pushes him off his feet.
I
totally
like,
could have.
Probably.
Yeah, I'll
I'm
stand
like
behind him. You just push him over me.
Like shirt. I'm probably more like grab shirt, force to ground.
Yeah, I'm gonna just pull out my crossbow and just like the arms will pop out, but it won't. I'm not aiming it at anyone yet.
Make an athletics check to grab him, to snatch him up.
And Kaori, my steel defender, will walk around to the other side from where we are.
To provide flanking.
Yes.
Understandable. And you call a guard. So let's see how that...
41.
Oh, I thought you said 41. I was like, hold the fuck on. What do you mean, 41?
Slam him into the basement.
Casual 41, don't worry about it. No need to look at my character sheet.
Ooh, tie. So, like, you grab him, he turns and, like, smacks your hands away, and, like, you go to reestablish the grab, and it's neutral again, so the grab fails, because technically, tie goes to defender.
I will punch him in the gut.
So this is combat, is what I'm hearing.
I would like to punch him non-lethally. Like,
Okay.
I'm not trying to kill him.
Make
He will due process.
I'm going
as due process as it gets out.
So
anyway,
roll an attack. I'm going to roll his intelligence.
Okay.
You could stunning fist him or stunning palm, whatever it is. Just make him shit himself.
Yeah.
I'm going to make you shit yourself. Or sorry, I'm going to shit yourself.
Oh, fucking racial again?
What race is
There
this?
we go, 19.
19.
You slept the word?
The spy master is a dire halfling.
It connects. So you do land the hit. He is smart enough to know to not start casting magic, because it's not going to make him look any better.
Okay.
At this point, he is accepting being detained, primarily because at this point he could escalate it, but escalating it is a bad idea.
Would you outnumber him? And there's a bunch of guards here.
I'm going to, just in case, clear myself of my night eye and take my potency concoction.
What does the potency mutagen do again?
I get +3 strength.
Okay, fair enough.
I have disadvantage on athletics checks, I think, or not athletics. Dexterity.
Correct. So you snatch him up. He acquiesces. Guards come over. They grab him. I'm sorry.
I will cast Detect Magic and just keep that up so I can watch for shenanigans.
As the guards arrive.
My red eyes.
As the guards arrive, I will say, on authority as spy master to Mistress Alexis, arrest this man for regicide, homicide, and framing an innocent woman.
He is vehemently shouting that is slander, lies, you're a heretic. He spits on you.
Yes, everybody but you and Alexander are heretics. We know.
At this point, everyone's walked in the room. Is like, the fuck is going on?
Find an incredibly uncomfortable place to keep this piece of shit.
Marco is like, I have an idea.
Oh.
By all means.
He opens this fucking secret passageway.
Oh, that's fucked.
I
love it.
Yeah.
We told you we'd show you the other stuff.
Yeah, sure, we did tell you we were going to show you the other artifacts we found.
Yeah. I will pick his ass up with my 21 strength and carry him to entrance.
Unhand me, you vile creature!
I'd like to note that with the change of mutagens, like, instead of the dull glowing red eyes, instead I have, like, basically, like, black veins all over my body, what's visible.
Okay, that does not help
So, you know,
your case much.
whether it's unsettling or not.
It's unsettling.
It's not a case. Yeah. How deep is or it's a stairwell down, right?
Yeah, it's a stairwell down.
Alright, I'm gonna go down just enough so, like, the door wouldn't close on us and just absolutely plant his ass on one of the steps.
Absolutely what?
I'm planting his ass on one of the steps.
Oh, just like sitting him down like you're in timeout?
Yes. I will give him a hard stare and tell him, do not move.
Well, I was going to have the guards, you know.
The two guards are accompanying him, and they are finding him presently. As you walk away, you heretic piece of shit! You'll burn for this!
Well, after the guards. Also, you should probably gag him. I'm pretty sure he knows magic.
Also, just for your mental health.
Yeah.
Oh, really? One of the guards reaches into a pouch and throws dust in his face. And he starts coughing and sneezing.
Very good.
Yes, to make
I thought he
This
was
is my
going to fall asleep.
anti-wizard dust.
It's a dust that makes it really hard to use verbal components.
Man, that sounds awful. It's the dust that everyone's allergic to.
It is. Anyhow, back to what you all do. So sorry.
That's fine.
So you said
Right.
others are filtering in.
Yeah, yes, they all watched this happen. And they're like, what the?
Yeah, okay.
What happened?
Once,
As
people-
usual, stand for reactions.
yeah, once people have gathered, I will be like, quiet down. I will explain, and I will proceed to step by step recreate essentially the events of what happened last night, filling it in as, and then how, and then stating that we came to a consensus that it was one of two people. I won't name who the other person was. That was super suspicious. Because there's no point in that, and it won't help anything. And then I will explain how we came to the conclusion that was him, especially when we started questioning him. And despite giving him the false information, he gave the name of the person who he had tried to frame. And thus, the mystery is solved.
So it would
I'll
seem.
just kind of give a nod to Tabitha.
And of course, to fill in that his motive was to, protect Alexander's, position and integrity and everything.
Alexander.
Yeah.
His own.
Alexander will be the first one to talk. You're quite sure of this?
Yeah.
Incredibly.
I wouldn't think Lexington to have the stomach for regicide, and to protect my position. That's preposterous.
It would protect his as well, and many people will find that they are quite capable of such dark things when pushed to the edge.
I do believe that. I have no reason to doubt you. You lay out quite an incredible set of circumstances here. I don't know if I'd be able to dispute such things. If you believe that he acted on my orders and he holds out his holy avenger presentingly, strike me down.
No. I shake my head.
There's no need for the theatrics. Enough have died today.
We have no question that he acted of his own volition.
By the way, for those...
I'm going to incite Alexander anyway.
Okay.
Just in case.
Might as well, I suppose.
Yeah, for those at home who wanted to know what the dust they threw was, it's the dust of sneezing and choking.
I forgot about that stuff.
Yeah, when you use an action to throw a handful of dust into the air, you and each creature that needs to breathe within 30 feet of you must succeed a DC 15 con save, or become unable to breathe, while sneezing uncontrollably. A creature affected this way is considered incapacitated and suffocated. As long as it is conscious, a creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on a success, or with the use of the Lesser Restoration spell.
The Lesser Restoration spell they can't themselves cast.
Correct, because they're incapacitated. Unless, of course, they don't need to breathe.
Yeah. Or specifically a
but then they
Divine
don't
Soul
need to restore
sorcerer
themselves.
with the subtle spell meta magic.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, because you're incapacitated, so you can't take actions,
Yeah.
regardless of whether you can speak or not. So
You're just fucked. All right. Fucking, please
Anyway,
read off your numbers.
I got it. Yeah, go ahead.
I got a 16.
28 and a 16. So, as far as the two of you can tell, he's being honest. He has no idea why he did this. With the 28, you get a little insight into like how Alexander sees himself. He sees himself as kind of like above things and able to talk his way out of any situation.
Mhm.
So he's just like, sure, my father's a heretic, but I'm not a heretic, and I have done my best to purge these lands of evil and heretics.
Yeah, so he has no reason to need to get rid of his father to protect his own reputation.
No.
But maybe Lexington thought otherwise. didn't want to take it.
Didn't know.
I mean, a risk
Or
was
at least not
presented.
so sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
We will have him dealt with immediately. The punishment for regicide is death by drawn and quartered.
Sounds fitting.
There's only one issue that remains. Have you found anything regarding who is our father's successor?
Unfortunately, not. We found
Nothing thus far, but with the matter handled, I imagine that there is all the time in the world to sort that out.
Yes. If I may, brothers, sisters, as it was my associates who committed such a heinous act, I do concede any claim I could have to the throne. If we wish to discuss this at further length, that is on the table, and I'm perfectly willing to accept such a thing if you would hear my counsel on that. If not, I understand. I will go about my usual business. They begin breaking out into a discussion. It's like, well, how do we figure this out? Powell is bitching and moaning.
Yeah.
Figure it out today. I want my deed.
There is, of
I'm
course,
about
no
to
need
be
to
known
rush.
as the Elf Puncher.
There is a need to rush.
Well, I just wanted to ensure discussions remained calm. They're all here, so conveniently, I suppose you could say, to have the discussion. So I think that's fortuitous, at least.
you're an elf. You have plenty of time.
Rumble, rumble, rumble.
I just glare at Powell. Calm the fuck down.
And is there anything else anyone would like to do? Because you have your suspect in chains.
I guess I'll check up on Frederick, see how he's doing, because he's the guy that I'm supposed to be looking after.
He's
Keeping safe.
currently in the throes of a conversation. He does not want the throne.
Understand. I figured he wouldn't want to do that because it would occupy like all of his time, and he wouldn't be able to do anything he really wanted to. Sorry.
I will probably have a private discussion with Tabitha if possible.
She says that can wait. Just wish to hammer this out with my siblings, as this is a pressing matter. As presently, our kingdom has no king or queen.
Jordan will give her a nod, respectfully.
I suppose I'll
Step back.
go talk to Alexis. Now, put a hand on her shoulder and with a small, rare smile, just say, justice.
Thank you. It's much discussed with my siblings. Please take the time that you need and relax. This was meant to be a relaxing occasion. Sorry that you had to work.
I will bow ever so slightly. It is my duty, and I am here to serve. But I will take you up on the offer to relax. Do let me know should you need anything else.
Understood.
Walls it right there.
Yep. Understood.
Is Lord Wolf alive, by the way?
Yes, he is hungover.
Okay.
And grumbling about being hungover. He may not even know the king is dead.
Yeah, that's going to be tough news for him to get next week.
And I think with that, unless there are other things people are wanting to do, we'll call it.
No, I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it. Mystery solved. Justice was
Just
delivered.
kind of prop myself up, lean back against the steel defender, once again puffing at the pipe. Kind of.
Jorson just kind of stands there, occasionally stretches.
With that, I suggest we move to comments, questions, and suggestions. Did everyone have fun?
Oh
Yes.
yes.
So
Yeah, that was a great time.
we only have 2 hours of recorded time. I think it'd be a great time to go over the things I have written up, the things that were missed, the things that were discussed, and the murder itself.
Sure.
Yeah.
So the first thing I'd like to
Tell us,
ask is,
did we get the right thing?
so okay. I was actually going to ask is like, how confident are you that you were correct?
Pretty confident, but I want to know anyway.
Peek behind the curtain. For the individuals listening, if you would like the mystery to remain a mystery, this is where you tune out, turn off, and come back to our next podcast. Otherwise, if you wish to know a little bit of what was going on in the back, please absolutely stick around. If you think you can get some GMing knowledge, tips, suggestions, or see how I fucked up everything and think that'll be wildly entertaining, please stick around. But with that, I will say that you guys were wrong.
Damn.
What?
Yeah.
Damn. Who was it?
It was Alexis.
I fucking knew it. I called it from the beginning.
You did call it from the beginning.
She was on my list.
Yes.
And I was so certain it was Tabitha.
Yeah. The imposter. There was an imposter among you, and came in fucking clutch.
Yeah.
Some of his fucking rolls were fucking. There's sometimes when you rolled like ass cheeks, but when it mattered, you fucking rolled well.
It was the spy master.
It was the spy master.
No. I tell you, I was sweating fucking bullets when we went to investigate the rooms, and she fucking tells me there's a burnt bit, she burned the shirt she was wearing. So I'm like, great, but fuck. And then we're like, what order of the rooms are we gonna do this in? And I'm like, don't say anything. Let them decide.
Damn.
So,
and man, the deciding to just go down the list, Cindrah, chef's kiss. Exactly what I needed.
Because we got to Alexis's room first, and you were able to grab that bit of fabric and move it since you were the one checking the fireplaces.
Oh yeah, and Tabitha already being knee deep in suspicion. Oh my god. Oh. Whew.
So
man,
yeah, I was not having Tabitha. So fun fact, I knew Tabitha wasn't it because she had given me a code phrase that if she told me that, I was to burn anything that linked her to any crimes and get the fuck out of Dodge.
Yes, which might I add was basically her code word for go. If at the end of this she gets accused, she would have said the code phrase. She would have said,
like
okay,
whether it was true or not. It's like, well, burned regardless. So
yep. The code phrase, by the way, was black and sun mist.
Right.
In which case she would have dropped the smoke bomb that we were looking at, Zach, when we were like discussing your character, Jen. She would have dropped that and fucking bolted.
Well, it wouldn't have saved her from me, but yeah.
It's obscuring. It's not darkness. But
sure, but things that obscure also create shadows.
Yeah. That's right. You can.
Were you a shadow
monk? Oh yeah, I was way a shadow monk.
Nice. That was actually the one when you were talking about wanting more diversity in your actions. Shadow monk is what I was going to bring up because their mobility adds just like a lot of cool stuff you can do.
And
oh yeah, that combined with thief rogue and getting like a couple not thief rogue, but shadow monk having some spells with key is awesome.
So that being said, sorry.
Oh, so that explains the dark vision that you had too, because I think you said you had that. I just didn't think
Actually,
about it.
don't have dark vision.
Well, the Shadow Monk comes with the Dark Vision spell.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to like cover more of that stuff in another like
Um,
behind the scenes podcast or what, or I can talk about it.
I was actually going to bring up a lot of the things that like went on back here.
Okay.
Just because it's like this was 2-hour recording, and I gave it's like, hey, if you want to know what's going on behind the screen, stick around. If not, you can leave. So what was happening is that every time Zach was going to find a potentially piece of damning evidence against Alexis, which there was a number of it, but you guys,
Yeah.
most of the time, you guys found it. The exception being the smoking gun, which was the one time that you guys didn't see it, and
Damn.
he rolled just outside of everyone's fucking passive perception to sleight of hand it.
Yeah,
Damn.
The smoking gun being the fabric.
The fact.
Yep. it was
Yeah, that-
absolutely still in her room, which is why because I had sneaking suspicion that's how it was going to go down. I was like, okay, I have to at least put it somewhere else or just make it disappear. Like if it's somebody sus,
Yeah.
make it show up there. If it's not, like if it was Frederick's room that came after, then I was like, okay, like if I can't find somewhere to plant this, I just have to make it disappear. To just
Yeah.
not have evidence linked to Alexis.
That being said, there's also, because there's a lot of evidence in this game that points primarily to either Tabitha or Alexis. I kind of purposely built the evidence to be like that. Oh, this really suspicious person is suspicious, and this person with a really good motive is suspicious. Cassandra kind of comes up as, I wanted Cassandra to kind of pop up more as like she's socially suspicious, but there's no evidence that damns her. Daisy, why would Daisy do it? Dad always treated her right. Yeah, she has some power. Like she has the ability to leave now, but now she's being shipped off basically. That gives her motive.
Yeah.
Frederick, fucking, if he was gonna kill him, would have done it with magic.
Yeah, that was heroism. Like probably
I would have.
wasn't Frederick.
See,
I don't think he would have done it that way. But he might have
I
thought
had the
about that.
vague-
Sorry.
I was gonna say I had the vague suspicion it might be Frederick, just because of how not magical it was. Like I'm sure Frederick has boosting abilities. We literally talked about the haste spell earlier.
Yeah.
He's smart enough to know. Don't make it look magical, because I'd be suspect number one.
But the thing is that he would have come far more from a crime of passion to where, like, this isn't premeditated. I am pissed off. I'm done. I'm emotional. Fuck you. You're dead. I'm done with it.
Yeah, that was sort of the loose end.
Yeah. Like, I didn't want it to be outside the realm of possibility and suspicion for it to be Frederick. Alexander has good motive. But if questioned, he would have come off as it's like, okay, yeah, he's a heretic. I'm trying to convert him rather than kill him. But if I'm ordered to kill him, I'll fucking do it.
Yeah.
I feel kind of bad for Lexington, but
fuck him. My own NPC.
Lexington's kind of a piece of shit anyway.
I guess I don't feel that bad for him because he would probably.
So here's the funny thing about Lexington.
Kill people for not being in his religion anyway. So like,
I recognize a thing y'all were overlooking and decided not to bring it up. But with Lexington, had he actually been the one to do it, he would have already known about the statue and the passage.
Oh, that's true, because he would have had to go through it. And I forgot about that entirely.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Admittedly, I found it a little suspicious, but like way too late that like you were pushing hard, because we kept getting he's genuinely surprised reactions, but like at that point I was ready for it to not be Tabitha, because I knew it wasn't her and that she was option B. Which
is what I was happy about, is that by connecting you to specific individuals, I give your characters a reason to either fight for or against a cause. And the question, and it becomes a dilemma of, well, what is the truth? And does the truth matter to your character at this point?
Yeah. I was
Definitely. Or go ahead.
Oh, I had in the back of my mind about like imposter stuff. But honestly, it was too late by the time I was like really tipped off by the justice gesture at the end.
Yep.
Oh,
Yes.
damn it!
There were a
That
few.
was it. Wasn't it?
I
There
had to
were,
end it with a one-liner of some sort.
yeah,
Yeah.
there were a few times where it was just like, okay, you're blowing your cover, man. You're being super fucking sus. It was just like,
Yeah.
I expected, because it's just what I'm used to for D&D parties. It's just like, I don't trust the person across the table from me, and I'm going to roll an insight check against them, and I'm a fucking suspicious person. I generally am suspect of everyone I meet and talk to for no reason. So I'd be like, do I I don't know if I believe this kind of deal. Or I expected the party to split up and search for clues at any point, but no one did that. And I was just like, well, that makes this at least very easy to keep track of. But if certain people get to certain evidence before others, like depending on where they're investigating, that complicates things.
People are lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I specifically wanted to keep everyone together because Zazie didn't rule out anyone during the investigation. She's like, okay, the others.
Yeah.
One of the others could be in on it, and I want to make sure they don't have the opportunity to be like out of sight to go do stuff. It happened
You know what's
anyway
funny?
because the sleight of hand's really good, so that was pretty.
Yeah. One of the funny things was the reason I wanted to go through like people's belongings and stuff in the rooms was because like I knew I wasn't the red hair, but I knew Tabitha was in a bad spot, so I specifically wanted to make sure that you guys didn't go through it.
And that
So, like for example, I know Tabitha is sus. I'm hiding evidence.
like that being said, Damiani did not report something that he found with Tabitha. Tabitha's trunk has secret compartments that have poisons and shit in it.
Yeah.
Now, would that have been damning evidence against her? Maybe. But I also wanted it to lead to the line of thinking, so it's like, well, why would she murder him directly that way instead of poisoning the dying, sick old man?
Yeah, that would have been really easy.
Yeah.
I wanted that to be, it's just like, well, like, she's not against assassination, but then if she's not against assassination via poisons, why'd she chop his head off? I wanted that possibility to be there.
Yeah.
But when everyone, like, in the first room, Zach immediately is like, I'm going to search the fireplace. I'm going to just make sure I check the fireplace for all of these places. And everyone was just like, yeah, it's a good idea. Let's all have our little assigned corners. It was just like...
Yeah, that was my mistake because
I'm
honestly, like,
you beat my perception.
same. My passive perception's 20, so that's
Same.
impressive.
So between my sleight of hand and the stealth check I did with it, my stealth check is, y'all were talking about this earlier, is an expertise advantage roll as a plus 13.
Nice.
Oh, where's the advantage come from?
It's a it is thief rogue.
Oh, does it just do that?
So
Man, I forgot.
Yeah, there's a thing in there where you just have advantage on sneaky boy stuff.
Yep. So let's jump into that part actually. So because of the fact that it's 2 against 1, or was potentially going to be 3 against 1. When John
it was under the impression it was going to be 3.
Yeah.
Because that was before we knew John wasn't playing.
I made a call of just like, well, let me give you a power boost, and I want to see how this works in 5e. And am I a bastard for it? Potentially.
I would say no, because for the most part, honestly, since combat wasn't a thing that happened really outside that one event, it didn't really matter.
He was playing Gestalt.
Yeah.
Oh, are you just like full levels of rogue and monk, or did you
level 12 wave shadow monk thief rogue.
Nice.
The most it mattered was pretty much that one stealth check. At any other point, it really didn't matter.
Yeah.
I didn't use nearly enough of the skills I had that I had gained from the Gestalt, or frankly, many of the features I was a little worried I might have made myself, because I know I didn't like specifically talk about what my level split was, since I was going with the idea that I was level 9, level 3 as a split
Yeah.
between monk and rogue.
That's what I
And I realized during the combat I was compensating to be like, oh yeah, I have 2d6 sneak attack dice. However, I was still like 1d8 melee damage die for monk, which would not have been possible
Yeah.
if I was 9th level.
Yeah, I
I
didn't look into that too
I
hard, but I
yeah. I didn't know. I don't know those statistics well enough offhand, so I didn't even try.
honestly, the thing that covered you for you really well was the crit on that turn. So I was like, man, that's a really big number. But it was you got to crit that turn or whatever, and I just didn't even do the math.
Yeah.
So that also touches on another thing. He rolled his other sneak attack dice damage in secret and
Yeah.
added it. He damn near one shot that thing.
Yeah, it
There
looked
was,
like it.
yeah, because you used the sneak attack on the crit. Well, of course you would. So that's 12d6 sneak attack dice.
And
Yeah.
there's an argument to be made, and like the way that it happened is he rolled all of his attacks and then rolled damage and decided where he wanted to apply sneak attack. There's some schools of thought in GMing that's just like, no, you roll the damage after you succeed the hit, then you roll the damage for that one, and then they have to make that decision for, do I add sneak attack dice to it? And I'm like, that's fucking boring and not fun.
I think in this case it ended up being a lot more cinematic.
Yeah.
You could just
Yeah.
apply it to the crit. So that was pretty
Honestly,
nice.
it's so much more time efficient too.
It's more time efficient. It's less fun in my opinion. Now, mind you, if you want to run it probably closer to rules as written, that's what you would do. There's merit to that for sure. It's up to your table. I know for sure that this table is just like, is it cool? Do that.
Yeah.
That being said, let's talk about some of the things that you guys missed.
Oh yeah.
There's plenty, I'm sure.
I am curious, because while I didn't know who was guilty, I had no idea what all the evidence in play was. So I was investigating as much as you guys, trying to figure out ways I could slander other people.
I'm so upset about it, by the way, because Alexis was one of my first suspects in when we discovered the scene. Because yeah, when you said it was like one strong, skillful blow, I'm just like, that's probably Alexis.
Yeah.
And then just
that's
like
right. So
it didn't stick.
yeah, I kept trying to make it stick, but like I couldn't without making Tabitha be more suspicious by me being like on that,
Yeah. You
and since Tabitha was super suspicious, I wasn't going to go that
so the things that you guys missed. Heavy boot prints in the tunnel dungeons. Cindrah,
Yeah.
you were just one short of hitting the DC.
Man.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned like a lot of like a scramble of footprints down there, and I wasn't sure what you meant by that. If that was like ours from the fight, or if it was just like old ones that had already been there.
It was both.
Okay.
It would indicate that heavy boots went through the tunnel dungeons, and then Keen Mind would have told you the individuals wearing heavy boots was Tabitha, Peter, Alexis, and Alexander. Lexington wouldn't have been wearing heavy boots. Cassandra wouldn't have been wearing heavy boots. So
man, that would have been so easy. I could have just gone and gotten a boot and stuck it in one of the boot prints and like to see.
Yeah.
So that was something that you guys missed. The head butler was in on. When you guys were asking about where Vanessa was, he was lying, but no one rolled insight against him to see if he was lying about that.
So he knew it. Vanessa.
Oh yeah, she knew where he knew where Vanessa was. He knew where her body was. On top of that, he also burnt the will.
Oh, so
Wait, what?
Yeah. He so Alexis and I had one of the magical items ended up paying for was a ring that doubled as a mind shield because it fucking would be dumb if you just could read my mind and be like guilty. And it was also mind linked to Alexis, so we could communicate. She told me, the butler was in on it. He's supposed to burn the will. So at the end of that, conversation where we're like, oh, where's the maid or whatever. That's why I suggested that everybody get comfortable
Everybody get comfortable.
as a way to tip my hat to him, be like, yeah, I know. Take the opportunity to burn that shit.
And then you guys went outside to go look at Vanessa's body.
So he had time to go do that.
Yep.
I assume it was like the king's will that he had probably written when he found out he was dying and chosen his successor and all that.
He chose his successor last night. He wanted to see how his children would behave before he wrote down and finalized who would be taking over.
So it doesn't matter now, but who was
Alexander.
That makes sense. So
Kind of glad it wasn't Alexander, just because he was going to establish like a state religion, and that would have been a problem.
Yeah, but he was also reasonable and like letting siblings live their lives.
Yeah, he did have like advisors and stuff, so that was good.
Like, not everyone can be perfect. State religion isn't always the worst thing, just usually.
But otherwise, you guys found most of the clues. Like you guys didn't pick up on the social one with the head butler that I had written out. Things that I added in to add layers. One of the things I added in was having Marco and Lexington follow you guys around, because it's like it wouldn't make sense for the other siblings to not have a vested interest in the proceedings.
Yeah.
Trying to kind of like keep it neutral. So I'm going to add them. And then everyone antagonized fucking Lexington. And I'm like, that's fantastic. I love it. We'll keep that ball going. He storms off. He was the first person to storm off, which allowed for that bit of evidence to be like, to have that like pushed against him. Marco ran off away from the monster, so he could have also been a possibility if someone wanted to push Cassandra.
I mean, but he ran away from the monster for about as long as I did, and I was also behind.
Yeah.
He had not enough time to go burn a whole ass top.
The shirt was burnt last night.
Yeah, that's fair.
But the shirt was a thing that I thought of after all of you went to investigate Vanessa. I was just like, she probably would have to not wear the same clothes she was wearing, or at least like not have that around. I need to have that written down as evidence in her section.
Alexis just standing there this whole day with like a blood spattered shirt, but it just like passed over our passive.
Yeah, no, that's
yeah.
Let's see, what else? Oh, we could go over everyone's little secrets.
Alright.
King Frederick, I didn't make anything really secret for him. My inspiration for him was think Robert Baratheon, but meaner.
Yeah, he wasn't exactly a subtle guy.
Yeah. Alexander, holier than thou, preachy, and too noble. Main grievance with his father is that by his church, his father is a heretic and must be seen, and this must be seen to.
Yeah, I got that first night before the murder even happened.
Frederick, despite his lengthy study of evocation and battle magic, father still views him as a scholar and not a warrior, better known as a disappointment.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, now that reminds me of what that evidence was on his floor. That spell was essentially going to be a 10th level evocation spell.
Oh yeah, the one he had been working on for a while.
Yeah, it's something that was just like, I'm going to level an army, if not more. Because he still wants to impress your old dad, but he's just doing it in his own way. But Dad didn't care.
He's
Uh,
like, well, it'll definitely get his attention if I can take out an entire army by myself.
yep. Cassandra
That's
is
better.
liked by her father, but he struggles to accept her personal desires. Cassandra has no interest in men, and her father fails to understand that and has actively rebuked her female suitors. Daisy loathes the many suitors who treat her like a child rather than an adult that her father attempts to marry her off to. She feels like a prized heifer more than a human.
I could,
Yeah.
was the one she was
Poor
writing
Daisy.
letters to a woman, or
The person she was writing letters to was a woman, but it was one of her best friends. If you guys were questioned her on it, like she was like she was heterosexual, but she was just like the men that she's being presented are creepy.
or yeah.
Um,
Honestly, the one that she was getting married off to, the whole just like, I'll cure your disease if I get to marry her, like that is a pretty creepy deal to make. Like even,
um,
and that's creepy. Assuming he's telling the truth, he might not even be able to do that.
yeah. The medicine that
Makes it even worse.
the medicine check that you missed out on there, Damiani, she has like based on all the medicines that she has, you assume that she has struggled with lung issues her entire life. Tuberculosis, it being like the big one, just constantly having TB.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Um,
And I assume just like about her feeling better. Maybe was she only feeling better because it was under control by her medication?
so the medication she was burning was something to help open up her airways.
Mhm.
But she was actively like she had been for a few months had not been sick, which is a record for her.
That's good.
So she was on the mend, and because she was on the mend, her dad was just like, "Well, now you need to marry." And it's just like, okay, I've been I don't even know who I am as an adult. What the fuck?
Yeah, can you let me finish the mending before you start like talking about my duty to the family to go?
Speaking of duties to the family, Alexis. Yeah, Alexis has had a political marriage arranged in which she will no longer be a warrior, but some foreign lord's wife. This she finds to be an insult to her power and what she strove to be for her father.
Yeah, her father kind of sucked.
Then Tabitha has eyes and ears throughout most of the kingdoms, even in her father's own court. She knows that her father almost despises her existence and believes her a coward, and has talked about disowning her and cutting her off from the royal coffers. So she already knew what was going to go, that like the possibility was out there that he would be just like, "You're done. Goodbye."
Yeah, and apprehended.
That's why we were going to have to get out of Dodge and head to another country.
Yep. That being said, each of these, I call them supporting cast, also had their own, like, they were, I had them kind of like programmed to do certain things. The cook was just a guy. He was just a dude.
He's just a bro.
Yeah, he was just like, what the fuck is going on? Why am I being questioned? The guard captain follows the last order someone gives him.
So if he's still in the middle of something he was told to do and you tell him to go do something else, the original task will not be completed.
There was a strong likelihood that if you guys wanted to sit there and play hot potato with the guard captain, if everyone had like their own motives and everything for certain things to get accomplished, he would have just done the last thing he was told.
Honestly, doing that exact thing is like the advice I was given before going into the military. If like multiple people are telling you to do something, and then if they get mad about it, you can kind of just say, "Okay, X told me to do this," so, and then it's there.
So it's not my responsibility anymore.
Yeah.
The general supports either Alexis or Alexander, depending on whoever is seemingly the most innocent. Whichever one was least suspicious in killing the king, he would follow their orders. So if a good enough case was presented, him getting drunk and like fucking off, no one stopped him.
Yeah.
And no one
was scared.
Yeah, and no one like tried to like use luster restoration or anything on him to like, okay, no longer hungover. Yep.
I don't have that ability, unfortunately.
Yeah, I have no magic. I mean, I have my Hemocraft, but I don't think giving him my Restoration Hemocraft would be good for him.
No. And then childhood friend of the king, Peter Powell, he was intentionally a red herring, stranger who rode into town. Common.
Yeah, we kind of dodged that one.
Yeah, no, and like, that's fine. The possibility of you guys entertained long enough for the possibility of his, like, there's a reason he could have done it if one of the kids made a deal with him, could have easily done that. It's like, I'll promise you more land or something like that. I wanted that to be the possibility, but everyone was just like, that's a red herring, we're done with that, we're not going to even fucking give it the time of day.
It was a stretch because there was nobody to actually fill that role, and there was no evidence pointing to that person existing. So it's like, oh, I mean, it could be a possibility, but there's literally nothing to support the theory.
Yeah.
Like, he arrived and everybody was surprised to see him.
Which is like that is what the trope is.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun for this. Like, you made me, like, now I want to play Dorson in a longer game. Like, I want to play all my characters in longer games. And I would love to do something like this again. So, like, fucking A plus you, Brandon.
I have always wanted to run a murder mystery game. But I've never quite figured out how to do it, and I saw an opportunity to do it with this because I could devote.
I think you did it pretty well. I think the Gestalt thing isn't a mistake. Like, because of how proficiency
I think that was good.
Like, he's got a wider variety of, like, abilities and skills, but, like, it's not game breaking.
Yeah, like I said, the majority of it didn't even come up. If anything, it just helped back up in the situations where it mattered. But holy fuck, I was close to fucking that the role that was really clutch.
Yeah, because if you had fucked that up, I was absolutely going to take advantage.
The thing with the, like, going Gestalt, like, so the big concern was that I would be forced in a situation where it would be like, I'm gonna have to fight it out, and I'm just gonna have to kill the party if I'm going to win. Essentially, like, if I'm gonna actually, like, prove Alexis in it, like, it would be like the last ditch effort kind of thing of like, okay, I either kill them and prove that there was some kind of conspiracy, or I die and Alexis gets killed for regicide. So I needed to be able, because, like, as just a regular character class against 3 people, because at the time we didn't know John wasn't going to be playing, I was like, there's no fucking way. It just wouldn't happen. So I'm sitting there looking at, like, really strong builds and stuff of, like, things I could do. And there was, like, one concept I was like, yeah, that'd be really good. And then I was looking at another concept. Well, the first concept, it was like, I would actually get shit on. And, like, conceptually, it sounds great, but then you look at the mechanics for how it works, and it's like, it's not actually that great.
Yeah.
And then I was looking at something else, and I'm like, I think that's just going to be what I have to go for, because it's a build that uses charisma, and that'll be helpful. And then I was joking with Brandon about some potential things, and then I, on a whim, brought up Gestalt because it came to mind, and told him how it worked. And we ended up going with that. Of course, that followed the pitch of, what if, like, I'm a young adult black, or a young black dragon in disguise?
I shot that down
as a meme. Oh yeah. It was mostly as a meme because I knew it was gonna get shot down, but he just shoot as soon as I said it.
Maybe you were overshooting, so the next thing would seem more reasonable.
All according to plan. Yes, I'm gonna go with that.
Perfect.
But no, really, there was no forethought to the Gestalt thing. It kind of just came up as I was in the middle of cooking while talking to Brandon. ended up, I was originally going to be a warlock fighter was the plan, and I was going to be a crossbow expert and just do that as the gestalt.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, and then I was sitting there and I was like, man, straight up fight though, it's more, that would become the question of, can I down someone fast enough to swing the fight in my favor? Because I'm like, Cindra's probably gonna play a caster, so like I would like Cindra's probably gonna be a caster. Damiani's probably gonna be something martial or hybrid, and then John is a fucking wild card. So I'm like,
You want?
I need to be able to pump out damage. Like I have to be able to like take somebody out in a round or two if I even want a fucking chance. Because it's like if this goes into a fight, I'm pretty much accepting I'm probably gonna die. So it's like I just need to take every advantage I can get. And then I was like, well, what if I don't try to do a straight up fight? And so I ended up kind of stumbling into piecing together this Way of Shadow Monk Thief Rogue who can teleport between shadows, be invisible in shadows, and can also create darkness with a couple key points spent. And do hit and run tactics, essentially, coming in and out of hiding and getting advantage for it, and then punching somebody for a lot of damage and then fucking off again. So like one of the magic items I bought was like boots of mobility or whatever they're called. They double your movement speed. So I could like shotgun around like 100 feet per turn.
Damn.
I own my first character concept actually was going to be a wizard. But Brandon shot it down because no guns.
How dare I?
I was going to be the gun wizard.
Goddamn.
How dare I? Is there any questions that I didn't cover that people are interested to know like the answer to?
Yeah. When are you doing something like this again?
No idea.
Oh,
why?
again, I need an answer.
What was the reason for Vanessa being killed? Was it what I thought about just like her being a potential witness and gotten out of the way?
That's right.
Yeah,
she brought the cleaver to Alexis. Alexis is like, hey, I need a cleaver. Okay, here's a cleaver.
Yeah.
Cool.
It was actually my implication of maybe she was working with the killer and they killed her to close up a loose end.
Ah.
Yeah, she had to have unknowingly because that fucking threw off my psychometry.
Yep, she didn't know anything about it.
Yeah. She was just a puppet, unfortunately.
I don't know. I think it was very fortunate.
But her having a connection to Cassandra was something that I came up with during the dinner. I hadn't originally like planned for her to be connected like that, like as a previous fling, but as characters alluded to it and it was kind of pushed towards in the conversation, it's just like, no, that kind of makes sense. It's like it was a fling. It's no longer a fling. She's now dead.
Oh yeah.
I mean, her head did get flung off, so
yeah,
some kind of fling.
The decapitation was just to prevent any cheeky people from, I have Ray's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brandon was very concerned about that.
Speak with dead.
The speak with dead was also just like, you know what, if I'm decapitating them, I might and getting rid of the head to prevent the resurrection, it also prevents speak with dead. So
yeah. Would that have actually prevented the highest resurrection spell at level 12? I haven't looked at them in forever.
The highest available to level 12, yes, because Raise Dead is what would have been the highest available.
Okay.
As a 5th level spell. After that, it was fucking reincarnation, or like true resurrection, something akin to that, which was I think was like a 7th level spell.
I see. Yeah, Raise Dead closes all mortal wounds, but doesn't restore missing body parts. creatures lacking body parts or organs integral for its survival, its head, for instance, the spell automatically fails.
And like I could have been
It
like,
even tells you right there.
yeah, I could have been like, I take their hearts missing. I'm like, that's a serial killer. If someone is removing hearts, that is a
Yeah.
serial killer. That doesn't quite match what we're going for
Yeah.
here. I also kind
It's
of
like
sorry.
it's like a evil ritual cultist or something.
Cindrah, I love your suggestion of, because I hadn't even like thought of that. It's just like, I'm on my deathbed. What's the most chaotic thing that I can do? How about I organize a dinner party and implicate one of my children in murder?
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
it was
right.
funny. It was like he was a high priest of the god of chaos. He might totally do that. Like that's a thing that could happen. I guess it still could have happened. We never really figured out it didn't happen.
Yeah. Which if I do write out, well, if I do like full on like write this out like as a like publishable scenario, as that is actually a thing I've been considering since I finished writing everything out. It's just like I will absolutely use that because the way I designed this to work is I wrote out all of the characters and their traits and why they would kill their father or what like motive they would have, and then I determined who the killer was.
Yeah.
Well, it was entirely what happened.
That seems like
I
a
can
good way
make
to do it.
sure. Makes sense.
And like I wanted to design it to be to where you could. I want to design it to where you could have it set up as any of the children could be the murderer. Now, some of them have stronger motives than others, but that comes down to how you role play it, and that's kind of what I was doing. Is like had Frederick been implemented more, Frederick would have been trying to show what he was doing to his father. He would have been trying to force, like he would have had a more up personality. He would have been like, well, have you seen this? Well, let me show you this. Watch this. He'd been trying to like show off a bit more. And then all of this work and effort at the end of the day, dear old dad shuts it down. Is just like, you're a fucking disappointment. I don't care what you do. That would have been the snapping point.
Yeah.
It's just like, you want me to be a murderer? You want me to be able to chop a man's head off? Well, here you fucking go. Chop. But yeah, that's I built the scenario to work like that. At the end of the day, it's not necessarily like a repeatable scenario. Because, well, not unless you just like, and once everyone knows what the clues are.
Yeah, maybe not the exact same scenario.
Yeah. But like you could sit there just like you could run this again, and as long as you roleplay it a little differently, you can easily make any of the kids the killers.
Yeah, I guess like that could add some repeatability to it if it's like a module or something like that, and be like, okay, here's what you do, DM. Like, you maybe even roll a d6 and pick one if you want to, or something. Like, they all have reasons. Just choose which one it is and run it like that. I can see that being a thing.
Yeah.
But I think that it worked out really well. Like, at least in my mind, the entire time as we were going, it went from like it could have been anyone, and then like it kind of narrowed down, and like there was higher time a group of potential suspects rather than like just one obvious one. And I think that's how that's supposed to work. I haven't read many books of like that genre, but it felt like it worked really well.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to make what you read in the books work for a module, primarily because like, especially in this instance where I was just like, I want someone here to be working with the killer.
Yeah.
And like I would advise is like, you can absolutely do this if you think your group can comfortably and handle like adults, and this isn't going to cause friction.
Yeah.
Because if you do that to a group of people that's just like everyone's gonna act like a bunch of dickheads about it and be upset, it's not gonna go well, and you're possibly harming your game. But
Yeah.
So had I removed Zach as being the implicator, as the imposter, you would have found the smoking gun in Alexis's room.
Yeah.
Had I botched the roll, you would have fucking seen me.
Yeah.
do it.
Just seen you doing it and been like,
turned into combat.
yeah, potentially.
Which is 100% fine, but I also realize the difficulty in trying to make that work at a table. I have the advantage of having Discord and crisps to sit there and drown out my tip tapping.
Yeah.
Which was the reason why I was just, hold on, I need to look up the name of something.
Because you're like responding to messages.
I was responding to messages to both him and Damiani.
So
Yeah.
I've done a similar thing before, in person. In a D&D Ravnica game, I played a Demir agent masquerading as a Azorius, like, cop.
Oh, okay.
Basically, in the group, in and out of character, didn't know that until no one actually found out. I actually ended up revealing it at a certain point, and thankfully it didn't cause any friction there. Or actually, someone did find out because he saw my computer screen at one point. And he told me about that later. But it's doable, but it's a bit of a pain in the ass. You do need a digital device of some kind so that you can send messages discreetly. And there was the issue of like, you do have to pause to type. And that did cause kind of annoying to do in person.
Yeah.
I think something like that, where like, so I wasn't working against the group in that case. My employment was just secret, and I think that could have been known out of character, and it would have just made everything a lot easier, and it would have been fine. I don't think the dramatic reveal is like worth the whole campaign being like that much of a pain in the ass for myself and the DM.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are ways to do it, but
It
it's hard.
For like at table games, it typically requires like a similar setup where you're not working directly against the party, and what you're doing doesn't require your active sabotage or otherwise.
Yeah.
Like any roles where the DM doesn't explain has to be able to like essentially be explained away to the other players. Like, oh yeah, this is just checking a thing that might come up or whatever. Or it's pretty much all of their secret identity shit happens off screen. So like there's actually a really great green text story about a Death Watch campaign where one of the players is an Alpha Legionnaire who is assigned to kill one of the other party members. And it is so beautifully done because he doesn't actually have to roll a die for him to succeed. Pretty much like he has discussions with the DM in the background, but otherwise in game he's just another battle brother in the Death Watch, and
Yeah.
he just connives his way into not directly killing his target, but getting his target killed. It's
Well, that's even better.
It's quite genius. It was really well thought out, and it's it doesn't need to be with such high caliber for every table game to pull that kind of thing off, but
Yeah.
it's the style of how you pull it off at a live table.
Yeah. I did have
Doing what we did these past couple days at a live table would just be fucking impossible.
I don't necessarily think it would have been completely impossible because there was another instance. This was a little bit difficult for the same reasons. But yeah, I think this is probably not as suited for live table games, just because of what you said. Like it would be, but it can be really fun to like, because I've played that character a few times, like the secret one, and I think the doing stuff off screen, like you said with the Alpha Legion thing, is probably the most smooth way to do it.
Sorry.
Oh, I did have another instance where it was another Ravnica game actually, where myself and the DM from that original game were both players in it, and we both happened to be Demir agents. And the group was on I don't remember who gave us the mission. I think it was the Boros. We had to go into a place that was like, I want to say, I think it was a hostage situation in like a prison or something. And we were asked as a group to go help rescue a guy that had been taken in there by some like Rakdos dudes. And the mission that the other Demir person and I were given was to make sure that guy was killed instead of rescued. But we weren't actually told of missions because of the way the Demir worked. I guess I kind of wish that it hadn't been done that way because that was a bit annoying. Like we didn't know each other were in the Demir, but we had the same job. I kind of feel like it would have communicated about that better. Ended up kind of doing this like we came upon the room where the guy was being held, and I had I had some form of telepathy. I don't remember if it was telepathy or if I just like had the message spell or something like that. But I basically like talked to like there was the big like chain whirler Rakdos guy like next to the hostage, and I was just like this place is surrounded by Boros, and all they want is that guy. Like they don't care about anything else going on in here. If that guy just happens to die, they'll go away and they'll leave you alone because they're not invested beyond that. So he's like, this was actually pretty brutal because he like grabbed the guy we were rescuing was like a scrawny little like caster or something. Grabs him with the chains and starts like slamming him around all over the place as the combat starts. Everyone had like managed like by the time the combat was over, the guy was like pulp basically. Like the party resurrected him with raised dead, I'm pretty sure. So missing body parts were not restored, and he was raised like without limbs or anything, screaming in pain. It's like everything was terrible. So I'm just like, man, I'm kind of messed up for doing that, but you're kind of more messed up for making this guy continue to live like that. What I didn't know was the other Demir agent among us helped lift him out of there and administered poison on the way out, and he died on the way back.
Lordy. That being said, like
sorry, that was a long story. That was kind of off topic. I didn't mean to.
No, you're fine. The way I could see making it work at a live table is that every player has a secret agenda, and give every kid a secret agenda, and one of the kids' secret agenda is either their "I'm innocent" secret agenda or "Hey, this is a conspiracy of regicide."
I do like that idea. That can be really fun.
Yeah,
isn't that basically what paranoia is? Like the game Paranoia?
I don't know. But that being said, that makes it to where, like, if everyone goes in, it's just like, hey, you're gonna like during character creation, everyone has a secret agenda. Based on like who you go with, blah 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 blah. Here is a small little notebook. When you do something in regards to your secret agenda, write on it, fold it, and have me get it. And I'll sit there. At that point, it's not suspicious, and everyone is doing something secret at the table, so it's a secret, quote unquote. What your secret is the trick. So I guess that's a way I could do it. Is I could make secret agendas for each of the siblings. That way, it could be done for a live table. That being said, that would have been a nightmare for.
Yeah, that'd be. Sorry.
For that would have been a nightmare for virtual.
Yeah, for a like a smaller thing like this, that might have been just like a really complex thing to create, but it does alleviate the like suspicion of the quiet things that you need to do to communicate with the DM.
Yeah, if everyone's suspicious, no one's suspicious.
Yeah.
The most innocent person is the most suspicious.
I've heard about games that are just like absolute hilarious clusterfucks where like every player is told in secret that they have a mission to like kill another player, but no one else knows that's going on.
Yeah. That being said, everyone had fun from what I can tell. Any comments or questions or suggestions? Definitely open suggestions for improving this.
Not that I can think of right now.
Yeah, nothing comes to mind offhand.
And then
On one hand, I feel like there could have been more evidence against
Alexis?
oh yes, Alexis. She's like, holy fuck, brain's melting. But at the same time, I'm glad there wasn't, because it would have been really fucking hard. There were a couple points where I was like, this might fuck me. Like there was one point in particular where we were talking about I was kicking myself because I shouldn't have fucking said anything. But I was like, oh, maybe maybe there was a guard on duty who could, testify as to whether or not they saw somebody out in the hallway at night. And then it's like, oh, come my automaton, I had them guarding the hallway, and I was just like, fuck.
Yep.
God damn it. I shouldn't have fucking said
Forgot about
shit.
that. Yeah.
Oh, so how actually Oh wait, so did the Steel Defender see Alexis leave her room, or
you specifically asked about Tabitha's room.
Oh, that's right.
That is the reason why the Steel Defender
didn't infer more.
No, well, because the Steel Defender can't communicate that.
Yeah, it also has 4 intelligence. Like it understands languages and can answer yes or no, but isn't gonna go too far. It's not like a fully like sentient AI. Not yet, at least. Soon, I will create something superior.
And that being said, like Alexis wouldn't have been the only one to get up and leave. Other people, like Frederick, would have gotten up and left to go to the bathroom. Because he stayed up all night burning the midnight oil, working on spells. Because none of the rooms...
no one was required to stay in their room, so that wasn't.
Yeah,
like someone leaving the room alone wouldn't have been.
The thing was, it wouldn't be damning, but it was like I potentially put another bit of evidence against Alexis on the table.
Yeah.
I was just like,
So it's I do believe I need to so there's a part of me that's just like I need to make a list of evidence to be used at GM discretion. Depending on who the murderer is, if I want it to be like that kind of modular kind of deal. Is it's like who's your killer? It's like when you're as a GM, when you're doing this, determine who the killer is, and then pick from the vault of evidence and give them more evidence pointing to them compared to the rest of individuals.
Yeah.
Is it too modular, or was it something you wanted to just write as like a story?
Once
you said you wanted to publish earlier, I didn't know what you meant.
Well, once again, I was just like, if I were to make this a scenario that I published, I'd want it to be something that's like, if you have 2 groups, you can run it 2 separate ways easily.
Yeah.
Because I believe that I believe there's tons of value in a scenario or module that you do that.
Yeah, I think that's really cool.
And that's why when I went through and like I was doing this with that in mind. It's just like I think this would be a cool thing to, if I were to ever run this again, I could sit there and change who the answer is. And so I wrote every character. I wrote their beliefs and their personality, and then I gave each of them a motive, and then I determined who was going to be the killer by rolling a die.
Fair.
Nice. There's 6 kids.
Yeah.
Very, very convenient to use a D6.
Yeah.
That's why I was very interested. It's just like, hey, who's going with who? I need to know who your date is.
Yeah.
But
Man, if fucking Tabitha had been the killer, that might have gone a very slightly differently. With like my grim psychometry, I don't think you guys could have like pulled that apart, you know? I mean, I guess there's the insight checks.
his
Some
insight
things
checks
there's
is
a
that,
lot.
and you being a bad liar is not helpful.
Yeah, I didn't play but then I might have just not said anything, you know?
Yeah, you might have just not done it.
That was sort of how he
You
got
just-
around not being good at face. He just was quiet most of the time.
Yeah, it would have made sense.
'Cause-
Not even brought up that you could do that if
Or
you were
like
the
if I
imposter.
had done it, I would have just like cherry picked what information I fed you guys.
Or presented it differently.
Or presented it differently. Yeah.
Yep. Because I said he sees a light, like a lesser toned figure committing the double homicide. He can interpret that however he wants. He could go, Alexis did it. Looked like her arms. And like, as
Yeah.
technically speaking, that would have been accurate, and in this instance, would have been true.
Yeah.
Overall, her main motive wasn't to sit there and like, I want to be the ruler. Her main motive was, I don't want to be married off to some foreign king to repay a debt. And she burnt the letter because, well, Alexander was going to be next in line. And Alexander described last night as like, well, I'd put you through it still. And she's just like, cool, that needs to get burnt. We don't need that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, she might have just left it alone.
Yeah. So out of curiosity, do you know who would have come out as the ruler after their discussions?
Alexis, naturally.
I had you guys not like pointed out Lexington, Alexander and Alexis would have been the two friends. Tabitha would have been more than willing to absolutely take that role, but she prefers working in the shadows. Daisy didn't want to be leader. Cassandra just wanted to be free. Alexander and Alexis were the two front runners for even for dear old dad. Frederick could potentially do it, but he doesn't have the mind for leading. Once again, I like him. Alexander and Alexis have the highest charismas among the group.
Yeah.
So they're natural leaders. What they lead and why they lead are two very separate things. So Alexander, having been like, my guy got picked out, I want nothing to do with it. This is me absolving myself of his sins. So probably would have been Alexis, which works out perfectly for her because she's just like, neat. I win more.
Yeah, and
Now
don't
I'm
have
queen.
to get married off because I'm just the queen of this place.
Yep. But otherwise, like, that discussion happens if you guys don't stop Isaac from burning the documents. Because if you guys stayed around long enough, or like stayed near Isaac, he wouldn't have had a chance to burn it, or you guys could have discovered him burning it. And then Alexander is just like, yeah, it's Alexander. That's done. That being said, if one of the kids gets implemented, they're obviously out of the running.
Yeah.
Implicated, you mean?
What did I say?
Implemented.
Implemented? Totally not using my marbles. But yeah, no. It's with everything that played out, Alexis would have come out as leader, as the new ruler.
All according to plan.
According to Kakaku.
And you would have been her spy master.
Hey,
You would have. Tabitha is a better spy master.
That's also
Primarily because she already has her web. You'd have to reestablish it. So she'd probably just set you to work with Tabitha. So hey, Jorson, you have a new coworker.
neat.
Definitely not a list number.
Definitely not.
Because Frederick has like court wizard capabilities, so like
Yeah.
we'd probably end up still working together in the
Yeah.
future.
Like, and sciences and the arts, primarily the sciences, to avoid constant infections of tuberculosis would have played out.
Yeah.
So, no, the kingdom is better for his death. It was just a question of who did it,
How?
who done it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Like,
whether or not the players
you're
cared about
wrong.
justice.
Yeah. Really sucks we were wrong. I mean, Zazie cares about it in a really professional sense. Like, she wanted to make sure she did her job right.
Yep.
But she would probably still be willing to admit, like, okay, this is probably still for the best anyway. Like, I don't really care about the king getting killed. I care about figuring this out.
Yeah. To be fair, Sherlock, Moriarty was there beside you the entire time, misleading you.
Yeah, that made it a little hard.
Yeah, that's the one part I feel bad about is just like, damn.
I'm not upset. That was cool though.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun to run. I'm very happy I got to do it finally.
I am too.
And I think with that, I will cut the recording here. Thank you all for listening. For those who did not leave about an hour ago, for the sticking around for the behind the scenes discussion. Whether or not I make this 2 separate parts is a completely different question. I probably won't, just that way time spans are consistent. Because I gave you warning beforehand to leave if you didn't care. But thank you for joining, and please listen to one of our other adventures.
Yes.
See you next time.
Huzzah.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.